Future slightly lower here to start things off on what could be an interesting Tuesday here. Just getting Canadian inflation data coming through here at 8:30. Reported at 2.7% versus the prior 2.1%. So a bit of an uptick there on this side of the border for Canadian CPI. Building permits for the month of February just coming through there as well. 1.456 million versus 1.47 expected. Housing starts 1.5 million. Versus 1.3 expected there. We are expecting import-export data as well. There it is, 0.4% to the upside for the month of February, 2.1% on the export side year over year, both basically in line with expectations. That's pretty much it as far as notable economic releases coming up this morning. We do have a few big ones to come this week, including obviously the Fed on Wednesday afternoon, going to be the major event of the week on the economic calendar. We'll keep track of anything that happens between now and then. But again, still June. CME Fed Funds Tool pointing at June for the first rate cut. There's the overall market to start things off today. 0.42%. Back to the downside we go after a nice rally into the close yesterday. On Jensen Day, we're going to hear from Jensen coming up at 1 o'clock Eastern this afternoon, 10 a.m. over on the Pacific Coast. He's going to launch, I was reading this morning, he's going to launch a whole bunch of new products, including their latest chip. So this is definitely going to be worth keeping an eye on.
No question about it, Brenda. We want to hear more about the delayed release of the GB200, the B200, the Blackwell that was supposed to be released this year, having some design issues with some overheating. I'm sure he'll be addressing that. Hopefully we'll see what was going on there. Also networking stuff. We talked about this yesterday. Networking going to be a big factor, the CPO in that conference as well. Lots to talk about today. BYD in focus, Tesla in focus. BYD apparently can charge a car in 5 minutes.
Yeah, 500 kilometers.
That's kind of crazy. It broke yesterday during the midday show. We covered it, but I think we got more details today, Brendo, because details were a little scarce yesterday. As you mentioned, Nvidia in focus. Google looking at picking up Wiz for about $8 billion more than was the case last year, 23 billion, 31 this year. And then XBEV with knockout earnings. Unbelievable there.
Yeah, we've been talking about the lack of M&A over the past few years. So first time Google's dipped their toe in for a couple of years. So we'll see what happens with this deal. But yeah, big deal for Google on the cybersecurity side of things. That Tesla story just continues to unravel. So does the stock here. New lows right now, 2.8% already this morning to the downside, 230 once again here for Tesla. I mean, that's the equivalent of going to the gas station at that point, getting an entire tank of gas in about, just a couple of minutes. So
that removes the range anxiety.
Exactly. And if we're there, we're at the point where it's, equal footing.
And I just want to say that the North American news outlets are looking at this with a fair degree of skepticism, Brenda. They're saying we can't verify it. Not stuff you'd hear them typically say about North American car makers if they announced a new product. Yeah,
I was reading this morning, the second on the list was Lucid. I mean, Lucid's still insanely expensive. But for charge time specifically, Lucid's still very much up there. Tesla's like number 8, I believe it is. So they're still very, very slow and lagging behind that. But more to come, obviously, guys, on this. But good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, it's not that happy for Tesla once again. But
well, I mean, welcome to the last 3 months.
Exactly. Competition, the hate on Elon right now. That wasn't a great inflation number for Canada, by the way. Not that anybody is caring unless you're here. 2.7 annually over 2.1 last month, but the quantum names are going to be in play today. Obviously, with the keynote from Jensen.
Lower those rates.
Who knows at 10 o'clock what he's going to do or what he's going to say, but the quantum stocks could move, and they're already starting to sell. Like QBTS is down 11% and change and was actually a little bit lower. So that comes back into play. Going to have AMD on watch. I don't know if NVIDIA is going to, who knows what he says and whether it's going to affect the chips, but just remember, when Jensen speaks, chip names can move. So at 10, you have your stop orders out there, have your ideas out there, no questions asked, but everything can change on a dime. Like I can prefer fading QBTS, but then one word out of Jensen and everything can go on its head. I have no issues with that. The same thing with AMD, big double top at 106 I like, but everything can change once the man speaks. Randy, they can charge a BYD. They're talking about 5 minutes for a full charge. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now what? Oh, we just go cheers. Okay.
I mean, everybody was loving Tesla, you know, three months ago, 2 months ago. Now everybody's hating on Tesla, right? And so, I don't know. I mean, the move continues to be that downside. Like North American manufacturers are in big trouble. Rivian's in big trouble. They're all in just huge trouble here, as China is going to have an imprint on this game. And it's just like, who the hell is spending $110,000 on an R1T? Is that the one that they're doing? Or whatever it is? That's expensive. Like, and here's Tesla coming through. No one's buying their cars anymore because they're scared of getting graffiti written all over it. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I like the stock, but it's going through its times. Like we saw Ford yesterday at $10. You know, how are these guys going to compete? $10 for 10 years. 10 years. Yeah, I think it's been. I mean, here's Ford's chart, right? I mean, here's a daily chart. I think we can go back to the 90s or even the 80s. No, I'm serious, to see these prices. Yeah. Here's a monthly chart for Ford. Let's see what happens here. So back in 93, you were $10. Let's see if we can get back there. So here's 1988. So here's 1987. We were $9.90. We were $10. We were higher. So here we go. 1987, Randy, year where you were just probably 5 years old, and right there, $9.94.
It's a good year.
Back in 1987. So if you parked your money here for 40 years, you have gotten zero return, but maybe you made 3% dividend, and I'm not even sure if that's what it is, considering you call up the S&P, you know, I mean, we don't have to SPY, wasn't even a situation back in the 80s, but, you know, you just see what the market's done. If you just dropped in $1 in 93 into the S&P 500, you know, it's now up 13x right there, right, in since they started in 93 there, so. Yeah, that's
a few cups.
That's a bad situation for stocks like this. And then you got Rivian as well, trying to find its way. I mean, I know Rivian deal with Volkswagen. I mean, I think that's part of what this is too, is getting their technology into other spaces. But yeah, Rivian down here at $10, trying to hold this area. That'd be awesome if it does. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Did you get that 1022? Ooh, it came to 1048. You almost got that. Yeah. So there it is, 10.15 or so, but down another % today. Lucid, I thought, had an upgrade today. Maybe
they had a nice move.
We saw that on our board.
But the one that's breaking, I mean, like we started with BYD.
Right.
And that's breaking out on the daily. I mean, a lot of Chinese
that's
stocks
what I mean.
are breaking out. I mean,
it's a problem.
XPeng's chart, XPeng's not doing anything today. Kind of disappointing because they had their earnings, but that chart looks pretty good. It was like NIO was kind of starting to go a little bit, but BYD has been a rocket. You can look at, there's two of them on the OTC. Y and F. It doesn't really matter which you want to pick if you're trading it here, but yeah, just a strong looking chart. And the Chinese names have been beating up everybody. I am disappointed, however. I thought XPeng was going to had a chance to do a little something today, but down 2.5%. And the volume's starting to pick up, but a lot of that's like a dark pool wick, so kind of weak after their report. They had good year-over-year growth, so they're still running losses over there. And what was interesting is that NIO was trying to go, and so was Li Auto and NIO were both going, gapped up 5 points, now only 4. Volume only decent. Like I was expecting a little more volatility out of some of these names, but on that daily chart, BYD has just been a winner. There's always something winning when someone else is losing. That said, just to circle it back to Tesla, you have to ask yourself like why you're in the stock. Like if you're long term, most of the bulls on Tesla that I know of think of it as more than just a car company. You know, and if you think of it as just a car company, then it could trade significantly lower to this, like no problem. But if you think of it as the robotics, the automation, the AI, and all of that together, that's where you start to be able to justify it making a turn. That said, I'm looking short today because the pattern has been short for some time now. Like it's just trending to the downside. You get a couple of days. Once it finds a resistance zone, you know, kind of work off that for the next leg to the downside. And the recent low was at 220. We're not there yet. So I want to look to short some pops on Tesla today. Thankfully, this shouldn't get moved by Jensen at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's PE right now is 120.
Yeah, it's always ridiculous.
So I don't know. I think 120 might be the stock price soon. We'll have to wait to see. It's going to be a tough ride. We'll be short today. I'm long the stock in my long term, but that's a horrible decision. 230 looking lower, man, down 4% and still going. It's been a disaster, but that'll be a trade today for sure. It's #1 trade idea on the sticky note. We'll get that out soon, guys.
Apple kind of leaning to the downside here as well. Huge recovery late in the day yesterday for Apple, right back to the highs before the close. We did come off a little bit into the close, but yeah, we're testing lows here, 0.2% only. There's a German antitrust story for Apple today. They lost a decision against them, but I mean, this is a common occurrence for Apple, especially when it comes to the EU. Yep. So, I mean, Apple looking a little bit better than the rest of tech, I guess, outside of Nvidia.
Well, it's just after last week's shellacking, Brendo, where it lost over 10% in the matter of a week, was a tough look there for anybody who holds that in the long term, myself included. So we'll keep an eye on Apple. Evercore ISI maintaining an outperform today on Apple and boosting the price target to 275. There's really very little to be excited about right now on Apple. I'm just speaking for myself. They've got this 100 top executive retreat that they're doing this week, being led by Tim Cook and the top 100 execs at Apple. And from what I'm reading behind the scenes, there's a lot of finger pointing going on right now within Apple for the botched release of Apple Intelligence, their version of AI, Brendo. It looks like as if the marketing team was, of one mind and the actual execution was of another because they weren't jiving. The marketing team made it seem, that everything was ready, and then we started getting word that it was going to be released on a piecemeal basis, and now it's suspended indefinitely. We don't know what the hell is going on. So I'm looking for some clarity from that company.
Yeah, there's been a few kind of missteps along the way. The headset was another one, swept into a closet somewhere that no one has the key to apparently at this point. A couple other interesting analyst moves quickly. Southwest, JP Morgan with a positive note, price target increase here for LUV. There's also Block. That's not Block anymore. XYZ is Block.
That's okay.
What the hell is SQ at this point? Anyway, my note had SQ on it, but Block with a nice uptick here this morning as well.
Yeah, eventually you get used to those changes. That's the thing. You've been around a while. Like if you just started trading in the last couple of months, XYZ it's not a problem. That's just what it's called. Yeah. Like you're not going to sit around calling MicroStrategy like I still say MicroStrategy every single time. I don't think after I say it, maybe I'll make the adjustment. That said, I don't know how interested I am in chasing Block. I wanted to come back to Apple on a quick note though, because yeah, it's also in a bit of a, let's call it a pullback, right? Like we had the Tesla chart up. Like that's a very distinct downward trend. Like right now you're kind of trending from the highs, lower high, lower lows on the daily. But since that top has been made, when it's found like a little local bottom on a decent dip, it's generally been good off that low for that week and then a little continuation after that. It's done it twice. The third time in here on the higher low, okay, it failed the 50 period, but now we get a big drop and we got a double bottom at 210. That got put in, okay, it kind of broke underneath there to 208, but then you got a double bottom here at 210 the last couple of days and the nice constructive afternoon move. So if we go dipping, I don't see a reason not to like the 210. It was a good opportunity for like a little bit of a late long in the end of the day there. So that worked out, but it couldn't hold that 215. I'm looking at that 210. If we don't get all the way down to 210 to the support level, but it ends up a strong day, well, I just want to look for reversion plays on Apple or nice consolidation breaks, like, reversion of a trend, or you make the higher low, you get the turn, and then something along the lines of, higher low support level for Apple. As long as it's above 210, usually good to catch a little bit of a short-term bid on this stock, even if it's in a pullback like everything else.
I was looking at talking about Square there. What about PayPal? Just having a quick little look here. Like PayPal seems like it could be basing down here. This is the kind of trade and breakout really that looks good to me. Like breaking through this $72. If you can get above this 74, I mean, this again been hit, right? I mean, the last couple, like we said, the last couple weeks, every stock, right? But 92, down to 68. New management a little while ago. I think PayPal could work down here, breaking through 70. So that would be something to look at. Up to the 200 period moving average, 75. I don't know. This is looking pretty good. Again, for a little bit of a risk on situation. Like if you were thinking about looking at past support and resistance, like we're right at these levels right now, 68 bucks. You know, that's top break, gone to 92. Holding break, gone to 92. Right, I could definitely see that again. You know, it reminds me of when we called the Starbucks short at 115. You know, it was kind of the same thing where you were basing, it just flip it around. It's just kind of like you were basing up here and then whoosh, as soon as you sort of lost that right there, it falls all the way back in. And I think Starbucks now is probably one of those bids again, right? So, yeah, good move down for Starbucks, probably worth a cover for those of you that are short. I want to thank everybody for messaging me on that trade. I didn't have it short, but I know some of you did. So that's a good one, and it looks like we might be bouncing off the 200, although we didn't get there. I think I'd cover that Starbucks right there. But, yeah, PayPal actually looks like a great opportunity. So I like PYPL down here. I know we're ready for Joe. I don't have my earpiece in there, Fabian. I don't know if you know that, but
yes, sir.
All right, Joe, let's go. It's options time.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday, guys. Yeah, a lot to talk about this morning, especially regarding the options market, and a couple of things I want to touch on as well, too. So you can see here in the market, we are starting to get a little bit of a pullback. So we're getting a breath from this downward movement. So what can we do from an option standpoint to gauge from a weekly standpoint where we might close in the indexes here, all right? So what we have is the cues and how we want to be able to identify high levels of open interest on the market and what that can mean from a weekly standpoint. So you can see here, guys, that we're down from peak to trough here about 13%, and we have now recovered a little bit. So we're now sitting around 10% or so down from this local peak. So what can we do from an option standpoint to gauge where we might close from a weekly standpoint, all right? So now we can look at definitive ranges within these within these vehicles to say, hey, where are we going to close and where is the options market pricing these numbers in? So what I want to focus on here is the open interest, okay? So we did trade above 485 yesterday, around 486, and we are now south of that. We are around 480. But one thing to note here, guys, is that this is still 4 days away until expiration. So why didn't we hold 485? Well, there's not a large enough participant in order to to pick up this liquidity and hold us above 485. If you are on the opposite side of this trade, so if you are short some calls, you don't want the underlying to finish above that strike price. So what we can do here is, when we open these trades, is look for a close around these high levels of open interest in the options market. So you can see on the call side, we have 24,000 open contracts. And then if we were to go over to the put side, we have about 40,000 open contracts. Relative to the rest of the strikes, you're not going to see a balance that high as you see on 485. So this can indicate, hey, wait for the end of the week, closer to the expiration cycle, and see where these underlying assets are going to close, whether they're going to respect these high levels of open interest. And you can gauge this from when that expiration cycle starts. So at the beginning of the week, see where that open interest lies, because unlike volume, it will always be consistent. It will always carry over. Volume will change from a day-to-day basis, but that open interest will stay the same, increase or decrease, whether those contracts are going to be opened and closed. So that is how we can gauge from a weekly standpoint where we might close in the overall markets, all right? So there's one more underlying asset that I want to refer to as well here, guys, and that's going to be Robinhood. Okay, Robinhood, they had great Q4 results, increased usage across the platform, whether it be from a crypto standpoint to options activity, increased margin account openings as well too. So what can we do looking from a open interest standpoint to see where we might close in actual underlying assets? So you can see on the open interest column right here, the most and the highest levels of OI are sitting at that 45 strike price. So what does that tell us? We're trading around 41.95. And it took a 50% haircut off of those all-time highs right after that earnings report. So we can use the options market to gauge where underlyings might close and where we might see some magnet effect in the price action during these trading sessions. We had a really strong session yesterday as well too, up 7%. So that is where my focus is going to be. Tech is extremely weak. Let's see if we can find some other strong fundamental companies and that are still growing and use the options market to gauge where we can now potentially have some target prices that we can trade into. And that's exactly what we're going to do here with Robinhood. So what can we do if we are a bullish, if we have a bullish thesis here in this underlying asset, but also want to hedge the position? So what I've constructed here is just a basic bull call spread. All right, so we're going to be bullish on this underlying asset, but we are also hedging the position downside. Okay, so you can see that we have this 43 strike price, so that's going to be an at-the-money call, but we're also going to sell an out-the-money call just to protect some potential downside. But we also have a what we call a ratio spread, okay? So I have 2 long contracts, and then I have 1 short contract. Well, this isn't going to fully protect my downside. What the point is of this specific style of trade is to reduce the cost of this transaction and of this trade, okay? So you can see here that we have a max loss of $1,300 and almost an infinite return. If I were to have a 1-to-1 ratio, it would cap my max return, but also reduce my max loss a little bit as well. But we want to be able to take full advantage of this trade, and that's exactly why we're gonna go at a 2-to-1 ratio from calls to short calls, all right? That's gonna allow us to maximize the profit and also reduce the cost of the underlying trade itself, all right, guys? So that's how we're going to gauge the market sentiment, especially from a weekly standpoint. We're going to look at high levels of open interest, and if we're going to be bullish in underlying assets, we're definitely want to hedge. We're going to want to hedge there, guys. So that is my thesis there on the Qs and on Robinhood. Those are my 2 picks for the weeks, guys.
Good look there, Joe. And Robinhood, hey man, was when you look under the hood, it was very, very nice. Breaking everything bounces from last week's lows, but Robinhood was a standout yesterday in terms of just the strength of the move, actually breaking out some tops, like that 40 level got taken out. I always sort of think when you see something like this after that kind of a big day, all right, well, if 40 was the prior resistance, then maybe that can turn into a bit of support, because we are sliding back this morning. We're 0.5% to the downside. This moves more than the market in a general sense, so you're gonna typically find a bit of an outsized move. Yeah, 40 looks interesting on Robinhood, but I saw a few people in the chat mentioning some other names that are moving around. I mean, Firefly is a small capper that's going. There aren't a lot of specific news stories this morning for catalysts. I think a lot of continuation type plays, like Tesla was big down yesterday, so you want to trade it today. Robinhood was big up yesterday, you want to trade it today. The quantum names are moving a bunch the last couple of days, so you want to trade those today. Like, that's where I'm going. I think that's why when I saw people talking about Firefly in the chat, I was like, oh, I didn't realize how big. I hadn't even looked at it. This is a small capper that I think can be in your radar. Doesn't do the volume that it used to, as it's gotten to higher prices, obviously. But yeah, worth keeping an eye on here for any continuation plays. The way I see it, if it moved yesterday, I want to be looking at it today. That's where most of my list is right now. You know, Tesla on there, AMD was a big mover, QBTS, of course, is going to be a big one as well, or Rigetti if you're into that.
Yeah, we have QBTS written down here on the sticky note, which is now out to short. We are short here around $11. We nailed QBTS yesterday, man, going long at this 1050 area. Excuse me. We'll see if there's any sort of consolidation in and around that area today. Again, I'm looking for a little bit higher into 1120. So we'll wait to see what happens with quantum to names today. But downside, probably a fade the names as we see it. Yeah, some weed names today starting to go back up to the upside as well. We had CGC on watch. I think we'll probably get to some of these, but I don't know, man. These are just dead anyways. Like you saw yesterday, down, today up. Like this is just what we're dealing with here one more time. Actually, looks like yesterday might have been up as well, but this name has just been absolutely like wow, disseminated right here. We'll see if it can stay above $1 CGC today. And then
reported.
I don't know what the story is.
Sundial.
Yeah, SNDL, Sundial. I was going to say, what is the ETF is
MSOS?
yeah, that's what it is, MSOS. Yeah, I kept thinking of MSTR there. I couldn't get it out of my head. But yeah, MSOS today not really doing too much either. So we'll see. Tilray, it looks like it might just be CGC. Wow, Tilray's now 67 cents. This is crazy. As this just continues to get hit, man. This was just $1.60 back in December. Now down to 67 cents, waiting for another split, I guess, to make this name go. But yeah, some of these names pretty bad here today. Yeah, look, we'll be trading all the same names: Tesla, Intel, QBTS, Palantir. That's what's on the sticky note. They're all out. Go have a look.
All right, I'll just keep my eye on XPeng here. It's continuing to lean pretty hard to the downside. I wasn't seeing anything new as far as this, but new low alerts here pretty much every other second for XPeng. Was 5%, a little bit of a bounce here back to 4.3%. Again, earnings, if you missed it, actually weren't that bad.
Oh, they're really good.
The market not liking this so much, though.
Yeah, well, I said this to Joe on the How to Trade show yesterday during the midday. I'm like, XPeng better destroy their earnings because they ran up so much, Brendo, in anticipation of these earnings that it was going to be, it felt like a sell the news event. So we'll talk about how they did. They did quite well. Let's talk about the guide. Q1 revenue, they're guiding 15 to 15.7 billion yuan. That's surpassing the 14.86. That's for the current quarter their fiscal quarter. They're forecasting vehicle deliveries of 91 and 93,000. That's a 317 to 326% year-over-year increase on the quarter. That's huge, guys. Now, with respect to how they did in Q4, they delivered about 91,500 cars. That's a 52% year-over-year increase. Revenue reached 16.11 billion yuan, beating the estimates as well. And they're lowering the price on their cars, believe it or not. The G6 and the G9 SUVs, they're dropping the price down 11.6 and 5.7% respectively. And they're also giving you free self-driving on some of these, they call it Touring AI smart driving system. It's coming in free. You don't have to pay for it extra like full self-drive. And last but not least, they're weaseling their way into the European market. They're going to be in Poland, Switzerland, Czech Republic, and Slovakia.
New lows as we speak here for, it is what it is, for XPeng. Let's jump over and get some upgrades and downgrades from Adara.
Duolingo here, kicking things off with an upgrade from Citizens JNP. Lucid getting upgraded by Morgan Stanley. Lucid's also said to be attending the Nvidia GTC 2025 event this week. We have XYZ here, or Block Inc., getting upgraded by Keith Bruyette, and Ralph Lauren up almost 3% with a Goldman Sachs upgrade. The downgrade side of things, one name that had a catalyst yesterday, PepsiCo on watch here today with a downgrade. PEP that being downgraded by Barclays yesterday. They did announce their acquisition of Poppy. Pekar here getting downgraded by UBS. Insight, another name with a catalyst yesterday, gapping down pretty intensely. Now, today getting a downgrade from Guggenheim. And last but not least, Bloom Energy with a downgrade from Mizuho. Lots of interesting names here, guys.
Top of that list, Duo. Last night, my daughter, when she was going through her French lessons, she drops the, "I'm dripping in XP, Dad." I'm like, okay. Well, that's you get points. Yeah, like you could, like for every lesson you do, you get. They call them XP. I don't even know what that means,
Yeah,
but
points.
it's like extra point, whatever it is. And then there's like leaderboards and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's nice.
And there was like a 10-minute window where it was like 3 extra points.
Yeah.
So she's like, I gotta do. I'm like, it's when it's like bedtime, like do your thing because you're learning. So I don't really, I don't give a darn.
Points, yeah.
But yeah, she was crushing it on that. The only issue I have with Duo, it's a great product. And I don't know, my wife loves it. My daughter is excited for French using it. Everyone I know loves this thing. It trades 70 times forward PE on this. And I get it. When you're software, like you can get a good multiple subscription service. I get all of that. And yeah, sure, maybe you're gonna get a consolidation breakout here, but the big old prior resistance at 303 or support at 303 is now turned into like your resistance zone. So like it needs to clear that out. Otherwise, at its valuation, like a lot of other things, it wouldn't be, like it's not even unreasonable if this thing were to pull back another 50%. It could be an interesting stock. I don't know that I would buy it up here, but just given the reaction and the love that most people I know have for this product. Like I do think I want to own it at some point. I just don't know if I like it at these levels.
Yeah, none of those names too interesting to me on that list. I mean, obviously we won't be trading pretty much any of those names today. Maybe Block, we already talked a little bit about that. Gold right now, just nice move to the upside, breaking out. I mean, we put some of this into our portfolio and it is really, really working. So shout out to Rahim Alani and some people that have been talking about this breakout for a minute here on some of the metals. I just took it as a hedge, not a hedge, but just something I've never been in, and was just looking at, hey, you know, there's some talk about gold, and we took it actually similar on something around this break right here. I still think it's like 255, 256, nice break higher into 280. Gold reaching all-time highs. I think it continues to work here, especially in market uncertainty. We saw the U.S. dollar, Canadian CPI comes in really bad today, really hot as well, 2.6 versus 2.1, so that's not good, but gold continues to work higher here, and I think it just, I don't think, again, we don't really trade it too much here, but this as a hedge, I think it just keeps on going. And, you know, you can see digital gold going the other way as real gold starting to get higher. So who would have thought that investing in gold would have well outpaced Bitcoin so far here this year? So that's a little surprising to me, but Peter Schiff for the win here, I guess, with GLD versus Bitcoin. Who knew? But 9 o'clock, let's get ready to go through our rundown. Make sure you do scan that QR code there and get our real trading, get part of that. We also have our watch list QR code up as well. Get that all in description. We'll be going through all of that right now. Sticky note is also out. You can go have a look at some of the trade ideas that we'll be making live on the air. As soon as 9:30 hits, man, we're going to be in a whole bunch of trades. So thank you for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're here every day.
Anyway. Let's get into what we need to talk about here this morning. We'll start things off with a look at the market. I'm just looking at a couple of things. Amazon about to make a new low, XPeng another new low, Tesla about to get there as well. So tell us about the future.
Oh boy, 56.80, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES March contract. We're below that level right now. We're actually at the overnight low, 56.50. So we're looking to defend the 50-point level. If we don't, then we're looking at the previous area low at 56.25. If we end up holding that 50-point level, we're going to have to dance with the 100-point level at 5,700.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the watch list. Absolutely free from us to you every single day. Jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page, and then all you need is an email address, and you get that every day. Here's part of the reason, it looks like anyways, the overall market is to the downside right now. We were trying to hold yesterday's low for Nvidia, but it was about 1.2% there at the low. Was watching that make another new low. But day two today, Jensen, 1 p.m. Set your clocks. Going to be a market mover.
Yeah, it should be, Brendo. And he hopefully will reveal the new details about the next gen AI chip today at GTC, so we'll keep an ear out peeled for that. You know, Nvidia stock has obviously quadrupled in the past 3 years based on innovations like ChatGPT, Claude, and some of these other large language models. But what we're listening today for is the introduction of the Rubin family. The Rubin family will include GPU, CPUs, and networking chips all together optimized for AI data centers. Production for this Rubin family is supposed to begin this year, with high volume production to begin next year in 2026. Some of the challenges and market competitions that they're facing right now, obviously their flagship AI chip, Blackwell, has experienced some delays due to some design flaws, specifically with overheating. And then we want to hear more about their new chip, what they're calling the B300. We'll have to see if that gets announced today or some other day.
We're doing our best here to hold on to support, guys, but looking pretty weak to start things off for Nvidia.
Markets.
Yeah, I mean, the market's weak. That's the thing, right? Like you just said, Sean, the market's weak. We're almost 0.7 on the NASDAQ is you know, Shreve was pointing out the levels. And it was already a sell the news type of event yesterday. So I don't know if too much is going to change. Now, remember, you have to worry about this. You know, like look, the morning session will happen, and then, you know, in the afternoon, it's almost like two stories. So whatever you think now, I think it's a little bit different in the afternoon. The only reason that I'm looking at AMD today for the fade at 106 is a chance to play off of the level. Like when I pulled up Nvidia, it's like, okay, well, the opening range, that bounce off 120, I like the 122 yesterday, and that's where like the initial bounce happened. So I kind of was thinking the short on any pop into those highs after the recovery, and then we're already down here at the absolute low on Nvidia. So unless this does a hefty pop, I don't know if that's one I'm going to get into. Whereas when I looked at AMD, like that double top was so distinct on this that I like the lower high setup on a double top because it's, as usual, testing the top end of a trend line. And when it tests the top, I like the reversal on the stock. So I think this can come into pre-market highs and I can work that. And then even if that goes, the 106 is there for us as well. So kind of looking in the chip space at AMD for the most part, unless Nvidia gets over the 120, because I don't think wrong short until 122, which makes 118 a problem to look for the short. It's just a little too far away for me.
All right. I mean, I didn't write down Nvidia today on the sticky note, although it was a pretty good stock yesterday. I think it was number 2. Oh, yeah. Yesterday was a good one for Nvidia for sure. Nice downside push right into there. Yeah, just looking here, I mean, I think 120 is obviously pretty good. I'm going to be looking short, though, today. It's down 1%. So if we're going to look short, I'd actually think about buying. Like, we can look short early, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to look to buy the dip. And so I think that, you know, this 114 to 115, we've done real well looking for lower support on some of these names and then just getting lucky to fill those. Like yesterday on Amazon, we had 196, but the bottom was 195. So, and then it went back to 200. So you can definitely catch some of those, right? I mean, we had some big trades yesterday, even at the end of the day on the TQs, and then Palantir yesterday. So 114 and change right here, thinking like this is going to be 114 to 115 is where we want to look, regardless of GTC or not. I mean, you know, I don't really know, like, what's he going to announce? I don't really think it matters, honestly. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be, obviously, it's going to be more efficient than the other chips. It's going to be faster. It's going to be smaller. It's, you know, so there you go. I just told you everything. Do you still want to buy the stock? I mean, I don't know. 114, any kind of dip buy opportunity is great. But as Joe and I had mentioned last week, it's just on a nice run. And it's just giving back now in the last couple of days. Like, we bottomed out there at 108. Or maybe even lower than that, 104, 105, and then it moved back to 122. Like, that was like, you know, 17, 18% in a minute there, right? So you can easily make that move back down in. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening. Feel like it's going to be disappointment no matter what happens, like I just mentioned. So I don't know. I think the short is really the only play. And then for AMD and all the other names, I think Marvell, I've talked about this. I think if I was going to dip buy into any of these names, I'm already loaded up on Nvidia. I don't think last time we bought that was 108. That was a couple months ago, before, you know, and we didn't get out when it went up to 140. I think Marvell, if we look at that on a daily chart, this could be one that's starting to, you know, baseline a little bit down here, and it looks similar to that PayPal call that we've made, that if we like this name back up to the upside, a lot of room to go, right? I mean, you're talking about a double up to get back to where we were in February. So that's not that far from, you know, time-wise, but man, oh man, Marvell's been getting hit there. So I think I'll maybe buy a little bit of this in the old swing account at some point, but I do like Marvell long. This is the one name out of all of them that I would be picking up almost today.
To crypto. Downside, here's IBIT right now, 2.5%, just made a new low as well. There's this as well for MicroStrategy, another day, another offering. 5 million shares of Series A perpetual stocks for MSTR coming through. Once again, sorry, strategy. Going to take a while to get used to that one as well, down 3.5% here.
It looks like it's coming into technical support there. We'll have to see if that breaks down, Brendo. I got other crypto-related news. World Liberty Financial, a Trump-related company, obviously, crypto banking platform backed by the Trump family, raised an additional $250 million in its second token sale, bringing the total funds that it's raised since inception to about $550 million. Some of the things that we're looking at here are, you know, what launched in October, It launched in October. And the Trump family could receive about 75% of the net profits. 85,000 investors completed a KYC verification, which is to participate in the token sale. So we'll have to see how that all pans out there. And I just want to mention, there was a lot made about David Sachs still holding on to his crypto, let's call it crypto wallet. He sold about $200 million. I don't know if you knew that, in digital assets before taking office to avoid conflicts.
They have to.
Yeah, they do.
Either move it somewhere else
into a blind trust,
or disclose
or
these sales. But anyway, crypto, another one that's weak today.
It wasn't that great for Bitcoin yesterday anyways, sort of relative to some of the V-shaped stuff that we saw and busting out some prior highs and, you know, the relief rally continuing. I have a 15 up, 15 minutes, so you can see like the 82,000 level has been like a local support. I think losing that is going to be a bit of trouble. Like the stock that I was watching yesterday, if we were to lose that bid and maybe retest down closer to 80, was this distinct bottom on, there we go, one more, on Mara at 12 bucks. Just because on the daily chart, it's not just last week, like this held 12 very cleanly for a while. So I feel like if we were to dip down, I'm still looking at that level from yesterday on Mara. It didn't really get there on a dip at the open. Huge rip a couple of days ago when it got to like 1240, and then yesterday it only got to 1260. But on that daily, you got support going from the 13th at that 12 bouncing once, and then you go back a couple more on daily chart, be able to get that level. So I'm going to still look at Mara. I don't know if it has it in it to get there today, but as long as that level holds on the daily, that's what I want to watch. And as far as IBIT goes, I think the one thing I've noticed with Bitcoin is if I see it do, okay, like it does like reversions all the time, but I think sometimes when you see like the bounce, it's the higher low that I'm liking for an entry. Now, it's not always going to work out for you, but when it does it, where it breaks VWAP or then consolidates like tight to it, we're taking a shot. Like every now and then, you're going to get a day like this on the 13th where it puts in a bottom, puts in the higher low. This one doesn't really do much for you. Maybe you get a little bit of scalping in with it, but at least you're not trying to catch the bottom. It's like let it make that low. Once it shows itself to you, then just look for the higher low off of that. That's what I found with trading Bitcoin as opposed to, or IBIT, as opposed to trying to get that bottom. It just never makes any sense. Like a couple of times that it's worked well, it's been let it make the low, just work off of a higher low for the trend reversal, as opposed to trying to pick the exact spot it's going to turn.
Right, I'm going to go finally here long on Mara. I mean, I think that this name here has, we've talked about it down at 12 bucks. I mean, it looks like it wants to hold down here. We're going to try it and see if it does. So, you know, 12, I just put a bid right now at 12.15. So let's just wait to see. That is the very bottom. I don't, you know, maybe we'll put a bid a little bit higher, just make sure that we get a fill and then we'll deal with it. So how I would work on this trade is like, I mean, Bitcoin, I don't know if it's going to crash per se. I don't know if there's any reason for Mara to continue this play, but it's down 3%. So let's just see if the momentum can hit. I mean, look what happened yesterday right there off the open as well. You had to move up to 13.30 and then it moved down 80 cents. So all we need to do is really move down that 40 or 50 cents and get us into a buy range there for MARA. Mara right now just slipping up to yesterday's lows. So yeah, I mean, it could be a buy even immediately off the open. We'll wait to see what comes as far as imbalances or whatnot. But I think this is a buy. So we'll wait. And how you could trade this, like I said, I just put an order at 12.15. I mean, let's just say you put that for 100 shares or something. Then what I would do is, you know, you could put like an order at 12.25 for 50 shares. So we'll do that, you know, hopefully it'll come in, we'll get filled down there, and then we could deal with it. So that's kind of one way to, you know, to make sure that you're not catching a falling knife at a crazy level, just to give you like that alert. I kind of use random shares like that as an alert, just like, oh, okay, I'm in. You know, you'll see me do that all the time, whereas like, oh, okay, there we go. Now we're filled on Amazon or something like that. But again, like what one person's little alert is someone's max default. So you got to make sure that you trade within your own realm, and I don't necessarily suggest doing that. You can fit up alerts as well. I just like this down here, 12, 12.20, 12.30 there for Mara. I should have put it on the sticky note. I actually didn't realize that we were down there, so we'll wait to see what happens. If we can get a fill at 12.25, then we'll play off of that, and that will give us an idea of what the market's doing, and then we can load up the boat down there. So just a little bit of an alert set there at 12.25, and then we'll see. The bigger fill is going to be at 12.15, and then we just don't want to miss it. That's all. I'd hate for it to come down and it prints 12.20 and then rips back up. At least this way we're into something and we can have a look. Tesla, I know.
It's not on the list.
How come Tesla's not on that list? That's crazy. Our number one stock, I think, on the watch list today. I know we've already talked about it, but Tesla's still going downside. Like, I wrote down, like, you know, somewhere around 232 to 233 there on the sticky note. I'm not sure. Like, now VWAP is down to 231. Yeah, so this name just continuing to get beat up. I also wrote down, too, the level that we would like is a pre-market break. But we might just already be at the lows at the pre-market. So maybe the 50 period of 229.50s or so could be something. But yeah, Tesla, now down 4%. Market trying to bounce though. Maybe we do get a little bit of a relief rally in this name and it'll give us the shorts that we're looking for. But yeah, for right now, man, it's nowhere near some of these levels that I thought. Like I don't know, the 200 period, 235, that's what we had written down, not even 232. So yeah, Tesla continues to push a little bit lower. Yeah, 190, like when we break 200 on this name, then that's the problem, because then once you break 200, then you're into this 170. So I think that eventually happens. I mean, look, the Model Y was the #1 selling car in 2024. I guarantee you that's not going to be the case in 2025 at all. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here as we make new lows in Tesla. It's got to hold that 215. Like, that could hit today. So get ready for this possible trade down here. 215 or so for TSLA. All right, let's go look at Quantum, another look for the short side that I'm talking about.
Maybe ahead of what is to come this afternoon or coming up later in the week with the official Quantum Day at GTC, Nvidia's GTC. But 8% here right now for Rigetti. Huge day, obviously, going back 2 days ago. Was kind of chopping around yesterday. But yeah, I mean, you were just mentioning a whole bunch of CEOs lined up for the 20th is Quantum Day.
Yes, sir. Thursday, going to be Quantum Day at GTC, Brendo. Jensen's going to be there, and he's going to be bringing along representatives, most likely the CEOs of D-Wave, Ionic, and Psi Quantum. They're going to be talking about, you know, quantum computing capabilities. They're going to have a Developer Day collaborations between NVIDIA and its partners, educational workshops, hands-on training, etc. So we're going to keep an eye on these quantum names. QBTS had a good move yesterday. So did QNTM. Rigetti as well was strong. So in focus, and I'm sure it'll be kind of like an anticipation of the event type trade.
Yeah, remember, it was Jensen that kicked off the selling initially, saying that we're still long way away from anything that matters in this space. But back downside we go here ahead of Thursday, guys, for most of these.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like yesterday, Rigetti, D-Wave, QBTS. No, like QBTS, it lost VWAP. It was a 52-week high at 1140, and at the open, that was VWAP. So what it meant in the note yesterday was like, if it loses VWAP, wait for the prior high, which was like 1020. It did that. It went right back to that 1140, so it was like a quick dip off the open. But now, prior resistance to support to resistance. It's that simple. The same area to look for the longs. I wrote 1020 into 1050 because I'm also looking at that lower high because I don't think it's wrong until like it's punching through there. So on any pops, like we're going to be there pretty quickly. Any pops got to be ready for that. And then keep in mind, you know, Jensen moved the market with you know, you make a comment. If he makes a comment in his keynote at 1 o'clock about quantum, just understand that you could be doing whatever, and all of a sudden at 1 o'clock, you could have like a crazy candle on these stocks if you're in position. Just worth keeping in mind, because sometimes, I forget which stock it was, but I had a horrible, it was Intel like a couple of weeks ago, I had a horrible trail out where I was holding a short that was in the money because an economic number came out or just something I wasn't expecting to move Intel, and it trailed everything out because it was just a crazy wick, and then you had to try to get back into it. So just be ready for the potential of that for qubits, for D-Wave. But looking at the previous low, that's the resistance spot for me today.
Look, I mean, yesterday, if you guys are on the sticky note, we had QBTS written down at 1050 long yesterday. Okay, and we wound up getting out at the end of the day. I mean, here's yesterday's chart for QBTS. Remember, we wrote down 1050 long in the pre-market. It's low of the day yesterday in that 1030, 1040 area. So we had this long and we had this out. So 1050 up to $12. Like, that was a monster move. We actually got out at the end of the day for our last little piece up there. And look, it just supported it. It held that resistance level and then held that support level. So that's what we wrote down yesterday. So we'll just see about what we're writing down here today. And we have qubits on the mind again here as we'll go back up. I'm just calling it that. Oh, by the way, this looks fun. Let me go over to the profile right here. This Happy Gilmore too is going to be hilarious. I think drops July 25th. Look at this: Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus right here, Tiger Woods, and then here it is. I was going to say Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore, right there. So that's going to be absolutely great. There's the CPI number 2.6 for Canada in February, beating 2.1, not good. But today's sticky note is 11 short on QBTS. So let's see if we can get up to there. And as I wrote down the exact same thing here, we'll just have to wait, man. We'll have to wait the NVIDIA, the GTC conference. Anything can happen when that gets lit up. But at the end of the day, yeah, I was just looking at the 200 period. So we'll probably have to play off that. Now that's at 1060. We wrote down 11 yesterday, close enough to the close that we had. We had a drop of almost $1 right there into the close after getting out. And again, back up to past resistance. So good little levels there. It held 11. Like, I really think this makes a lot of sense when it trades. So we'll just wait. I think this support 1020 wouldn't be surprised. But again, with a 30% short float, just because it's down 12%, this could easily pop. But remember, it's going to open up short sale restricted. So you could get that initial bounce. And if we get it, I've already paid for short. So we'll look about shorting QBTS today. And it's unfortunate because I do like all these names. I'm not in any of them, and I wish that they would maybe come down a bit to get longer. But QBTS, if you're holding it from yesterday, I still think there's good hope for that. You're not down too far. Yesterday's bottom, like I said, was 1020, 1030. So you're not too far away from that level. But I kind of like this short up here, 1080 into $11. Let's just see if it happens. It has to basically get back to zeros for that to happen, so I'm not too sure. Probably best to wait until they start talking about it. But Amazon, something about Nvidia.
Cutting Nvidia with some
aggressive chip discounts.
discounts.
But we know what Amazon is also making their own chips. So
I mean, Nvidia's already down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be anything. Wow, Amazon down today too. Yuck. This is the Mag 7 name that I like the most, and it's actually looks a lot like Google, another name that I'm most involved with, as this is back down to 195. Wow, man, that 240 area, what a good level that was. Like, you're always going to look back at some of this. But Amazon looking to break even lower today, down 1.3%. This has been a pretty big bloodbath, man. Like, anybody buying the NASDAQ or anything like that, you might have to start dip buying even a little bit more here, because that was a nice move up there today. And then now here's the fade back in. Watch out for 470. We're going to need to hold that on the triple Qs. We'll do some more work on this, as the TQs was my #1 name yesterday. It's been probably the top stock around here for a while. I know Joe is back to trade some of the futures as well, so we'll look at that there today. But the NASDAQ down 0.69, Amazon down 1.43. So yeah, this name does not look like a long either today, with it looks like a little bit of a gap there, down from 193.50 down to 193. Imbalances just out in 2 minutes. So I guess Apple is going to be another one of those names to look at here today.
Side right now, 0.5%. Data out of China showing 21% decline in January. iPhone sales, I was reading as well, from September to November of last year, foreign, quote unquote, foreign sold phones in China down almost 50%, 40+%. So yeah, it was not a good situation, but still we're holding, top end of the range from yesterday at least.
Brendo, you perfectly described this next infographic in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do. Exactly that, Brendo. So down 21%. is foreign branded smartphones in China, with an overall decrease of 14.3% in just total smartphone sales. So there's been weakness there, which makes sense because we've seen stimulus come out from China, from the Chinese government wanting to stimulate consumer buying. So that's going to be the look there. Now, with respect to how they're actually doing, market share wise, 17.1% for Apple. Huawei takes first place, Brendo, after getting really hit by the Trump administration there initially. 18.1% was Xiaomi, 17.2%. All that aside, Goldman chiming in today, maintaining their buy rating and keeping that $294 price target on Apple, saying that they see potential upside here depending on how the Apple intelligence rolls out with Baidu.
This portion of the show brought to you by, no problem, brought to you by our friends over at Trade the Pool, a game-changing platform that caps your risk while giving you the opportunity to trade real shares from using company capital. That means no more risking your savings. Trade the Pool offers an unlimited trading period during the evaluation period. No pressure, no rushing. Take your time, perfect your strategy, and get funded on your terms. Remember, your losses are capped at a one-time evaluation fee, and your profits are unlimited. Head to tradethepool.com. Start trading now.
Yeah, he's on.
Is, yeah.
I was just saying there's a former catcher for the Blue Jays, and one of the dude in the sunglasses looks like Russell Martin, the former catcher for the Jays, a little bit there. But Apple, like I said, it was strong in the afternoon. There were some dip buy long opportunities in the afternoon, but I said if we didn't hold on to the top end of the range, we got a double bottom at 210. And you're like, well, it's not getting to 210. Well, you might have thought the same thing yesterday when it was up here and it got to 210, or maybe you thought the same thing on Friday when it was up at 213 and it got to 210 in the morning. That's a double bottom. I want to look for longs off of that. Maybe you don't get all the way down there. The higher low in the afternoon Friday was 211, and then a higher low yesterday was 211. So I'm open to, as long as if it's dipping and it's not losing that 210 level, I'm looking for dip buys in Apple. This is just a support trade, right? Like the same way Mars support at $12, Apple, just liking what I see at that $10 level. So we get a dip down there, going to look for the long in Apple.
Yeah, I mean 210. Everything's down today. I'm thinking about flipping everything short. We wrote down Tesla short, we wrote down Intel long. That might be a problem. Qubit short, Palantir short. Apple probably short, man. I mean, 210 would be great if we get to there. $3 down could easily happen. I mean, let's just check out what happened yesterday off the open. So a nice move up to that 215 and then whoosh down to 210. So you have a top and a bottom there. We actually made both of them yesterday. We actually came back all the way back up to 215 again, hitting that high. And we talked about, it's too bad because I remember in the afternoon we actually talked about that trade, just playing off the highs. We talked about that with the futures, and we actually nailed that. Like yesterday at the close, man, we had this futures trade, and we actually sort of pegged this trade for everybody, and that was a monster trade to the downside. We didn't wind up having enough shares because we weren't super convinced that the market wanted to do that, but it still did it. Anyways, Apple today, it's not down that bad, right? It's only down 0.4 against the market 0.6. This name is going to get bought up. It's just we talked about this, and I don't know if we asked ChatGPT or not, but I feel like this was the 3 worst days that Apple's had in a very, very long time, going from 240 all the way down to 210. That was really, really bad. So we had 3 or 4 days of just horrendous price action for Apple, and now it's trying to get back to the upside. It's a short, but I would rather wait for it at 215. So I'll put a marker down there, see if Apple can get back up to 215, and at which point it'll be a short. I'll look for the long at 210, but if the market continues to bleed to the downside, then I feel like that is going to come into play. So we'll have to make a decision when it gets up there. BBAI with some accounting issues there, that's a sell. Quantum, there's QBTS, that's a sell as well. Just looking to see if there's any aggressive NASDAQ names. Robinhood, only 110,000 sell, but that's still, look at this, down $1 on that note right there for Robinhood. So I know there's some traders liking that. Down now 3% for the day on Hood as that's getting worse. The market's at the lows of the day, looking to break lower. That 20,000 on the NASDAQ, pretty key level, man. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening there. NIO here to save the day. I can't believe this was at $4 not too long ago. That looks like that's going to be a good bid off of 4. So congratulations, Shakib, and everybody else there in the chat that actually had some balls to take that trade, because, you know, we can all talk about these key levels. What does it really matter if we don't trade off of them, right? So right there, whoever took that, you stuck your neck out and boom to the upside right there for NIO. So that name looks like it's good. NIO was up a lot more. Those look like they're dark pool prints, so we'll have to wait to see. But this name down here, I like the long down at $5. I think we could actually crash into that level today as well. So there's another one. Only 1 minute till U.S. market opens. I don't know. You guys want to talk about Baidu?
There's some tariff-related headlines just coming across. Apparently, U.S. officials looking at a tier system, simplified, quote-unquote, simplified tiered system for countries. Yeah, I mean, Baidu has a new earning. It was up huge yesterday, gapped up again this morning. We're back to basically where it ended almost already, guys.
That and Alibaba both gapping and not really holding those gaps. Not really looking at those today. Keep in mind, there is some movement. We'll probably look at this a little bit later on. CGC is moving, not the other wheat stocks, but specifically CGC is up about 10% after Sundial reported and did nothing. Although, actually checked, Sundial apparently cash flow neutral for the first time ever. But looking at AMD, Tesla to the south side, QBTS starting to head to the upside as well. But let's go ring the bell on a Tuesday. Adara in 2 and 1. Let's go.
All right, get it, Sharif, get it, Adara. Let's get it, guys. As we get ready to rock and roll here into the morning. So 227. Tesla still looking like it wants to go lower. We talked about possibly taking a pre-market break on that, but it's not. There's really no pre-market levels. It's just been stair-stepping, right? So here we go. Nice little move back up to the upside into the 50-period moving average right now for Tesla, but then smacked, not smacked actually, still going up, 229 and change. I was going to wait at VWAP, but watch maybe the 200 period of 231. Let's see. There it goes, man. Nice move up for Tesla as the market. Let's check out what's Nvidia doing. Yeah, so a lot of these names starting to go, but look at the market.
QBTS.
It must be Apple.
QBTS is at the low of the day right now. So
yeah, Apple's starting.
QBTS isn't going. AMD did a little bit of a pop. I wanted to fade into the pre-market high. It doesn't seem to want to get there. But yeah, nice little bounce there, at least initially, and then right back into some lows. This is not looking good over in QBTS. I don't know if we're going to get the shot up at 105 on AMD at this point, but QBTS broke 10, failed. Broke 10 again, now starting to fail again. I don't know if we're going to get a test into more like the 10.5 level. It might just be this 10.20. That's good. So if it's going to be that level, go with a tighter stop and see if we can't pick it up. Remember, this is SSR, short sell restricted on this name. So it can start, it can really go if there's any kind of a bid that gets caught. So AMD looking for that short. Let's see if we can pick that one up because the market's already heading to fresh lows. NASDAQ almost 1% already.
Yeah, we just took 50 cents real quick there for a little bit of a trade. We're going to wait to see. If this breaks 230, then we want to get out of it. We just took a little bit of a trade there on Tesla. Let's see if it continues to work. We're now short in the 50s right here, so we could take another piece. Yeah, good out right there for us at 229 and change. We're short now in the 60s. A couple outs, a couple more outs right now. Now we're starting to break lower, and there it is right there. Let's see if we can get it. It's close to $1 right now in the money. So yeah, the party is trying to start, but this Tesla is very risky, man. Let's just wait to see. Don't want to celebrate too early, but good trade there off of, there it is. There's your first $1. That's what I'm saying. So it's a good trade to start the day there. We're starting to take a little bit out here on Tesla.
Yeah, great look on Tesla. It was Apple, by the way. Apple's green and heading to that 215 top. I don't like breakouts in this market. We said that a little bit, so I was expecting dip buy on Apple for any long opportunity. The market's going down and Apple's going up, so that'll have to lend into VWAP. If it holds VWAP, we'll look to join a long trade instead of trying to make the magic happen. I'm not chasing anything at the high when the market is at the low. It's just not going to happen. QBTS starting to go down and breaking 980, I should say. Well, briefly breaking 980. So it's still holding that prior support from yesterday and the previous day, resistance. So I think that 10 quarter is looking pretty good, but a very, very tight range. And this is not the range I would expect from QBTS. It's not going to have a 30, 40 cent range. So if it breaks out this top, I don't think you want to fight it. I'm going to get in there in the teens. And if we break the high, I already have a stop order locked and loaded to go. There is some movement on. We talked about the crypto. Sorry, not the crypto name. We talked about the quantum
what's
name.
going on with crypto?
And also the CGC. That's what I wanted to get to. So if we break that top, I'm going to be out on QBTS. But it was hit enter twice. CGC is up 10%. It did nothing off the open. So I know I said I'd have a look at it. Actually not moving despite being up 11%. Maybe circle back to this one a little bit later, but I'm going to throw that off the list for at least a little bit. If you don't even move a penny, then there's not much of a trade there.
Yeah, no, I've been covering some here on Tesla. It's the only trade that I have. If this breaks 230, like I was saying, like 230, 25s or so, then we're going to get out of this one. We've been taking profit, but I'm trying to I'll take some more right here at 20 again. Like, it's just 50 cents. It's not our best outs. I can try to zoom in a little bit. It hasn't really tanked. Like, our best outs are here at the 50 period, 228.50. So I'll put another bid there, but I just don't know. Like, I want to hold on, like, in case we do actually have a big move to the downside, but it's actually resisting that. So I don't, okay, here it goes. Give me that now. Can we get it? Can we get it? Oh boy, here it is right now. Okay, Neil. Now it's a $1 and a $2 winner right here. So there it goes, man. We are now into that Tesla trade. Neil, this is an absolute banger right now. We're actually up more right here on this trade than we were yesterday, period. So here we go, man. Nice little trade. Believe in the trade. Believe in yourself. We've done it there again. It's now, Neil, it is now $3 in the money. So there it goes. I hope you guys had that trade. Boom. Okay, let's just relax and sit in this and see how low we can go now for Tesla. $4 now in the money. What's up with QBTS?
QBTS, low of the day, now down 13%. It went right up to our level. It gave you the 1020s. I got 12s. 960 is the current low. So if it bounces off this, remember, SSR. So when it hits the low, there's a saying, it was Luca's, it's not mine. If it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go. So an SSR name, I'm covering 80%. In the range, 1020 into 960. We break it, we look for a hold, and then try the next pop. $9 would be the next level in. I just had to cancel anything on AMD for a quick second, but I got to show you why. I'm not going to be on the offer of AMD because this just happened on Nvidia, went down to 116 change, and AMD is doing nothing but just hanging in there. So I want to see the next move on AMD as opposed to just sitting there. When everything is breaking the low and this stock isn't moving, then got to pivot to another chip name. So far, so good on the one short. And then the notice on Intel. Intel, as the market's breaking the low, it's holding the low as well. So a little bit of relative strength in AMD, sort of, kind of, and Intel, but everything else headed downside. QBTS just broke its low of the day, so that's heading into the bottom. Yeah, those are the two names that I know we're both looking for the short. Remember, anything can change later on in the day when Jensen comes in, but he ain't here now, and the market's down 1.2%.
Yeah, here we go with Tesla. I mean, I've already, good day for Tesla. Now 450 now in the money. I'm just going to tweet this out because we had put this as our #1 trade today was Tesla short, and we have it, and it's a good size position. I was saying that I was getting, I mean, we probably got out a little, okay. All right, I don't know what to do. Hydration Nation, man, just have some water, everybody. As we continue to go to the downside, Neil, man, it just takes one, right? And here it goes to that downside. We talked about having confidence, using, shares, talking about your trades, and trying to hold on a little bit more for this kind of a move. So here it is, man. Now 550 in the money. So yeah, we can cover a little bit more down here. I mean, I feel like this might. I don't know. Is this the flush that we're looking for? Is there more to come? I mean, Tesla down 6%. We talked about how much we did not like this business and how we did not like this stock. We actually wrote down also Palantir short today. I mean, look how nasty this name is today, down huge as well. So just, man, opportunities abound. That's 2 times our daily goal right there. It's a face slapper. So as we continue to make new lows here in Tesla, $6 to the downside. I hope some of you do have this trade, as there it goes. Nice move to that downside, just keeps on going. As people saying there, yeah, shorts paying mortgages right there. So yeah, good job on that one. I hope that you guys are getting some of those mortgages paid with some of these calls. I mean, that's why we're here, is to give you guys, you know, some of our thoughts and just see what's going on in the market and look at a couple different names and give ideas, right? I mean, it's the #1 idea there. We've ignored everything else because we're probably, I mean, this is fine. I'll sit in one trade. Palantir, Intel, QBTS also on my mind, but Tesla right now, 550 and starting to go. So the #1 idea, Prince, whenever that happens, man, it is a celebratory day. So congratulations, anybody that had that right there. TSLL, I know that's something that Joe trades as well. So those of you guys that are trading any of these names, you know, great work on that. But remember, this can easily pop back north side here. So just be careful with any of these names, man. It could just be like, I don't think it's an early flush. We've seen Tesla move more than this. I mean, we've had $20, $30 winners on this name before. So let's wait to see if that can happen. Just looking for some outs, 226 maybe. We can get out of maybe 25% of what we have left. We still have on board about like 25% or so of our initial position. So I thought we did pretty good to hold on to this. Right now, that's a good trade to start the day. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening. Breaking through 224 is that new low. And then as we go, man, Tesla, that bottom 218, 220. So far, so good, man. $5 or $6 in the money here. It's always nice, man. You could trade other people's money, Neil, put on some decent shares, and let's get ready to rock and roll. It sucks for the long-term account, but here, prop trading, no better name today, I feel like, than Tesla. Gave you huge opportunities at VWAP, and there it is, man, 550. Great trade on QBTS. Hopefully that can hold. And here we go to the downside for Tesla, now 6 in the money.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like left brain, right brain, when the market's down like this, I don't worry about the long term, because the long term, I ain't using that money in a long time. So let's not even care about that. Remember, it is an as I said with QBTS, 80% at the low, because if it holds the low, it's SSR. It's not an automatic reloaded VWAP because the short sell restricted name. I would wait for the opening rush to maybe get a retest of that 10, 20 level. That is the bigger level. AMD now is starting to show a little bit more weakness, but it's still not moving. It's a little frustrating. I thought you'd get some kind of crazy open range action for AMD like you're seeing in Nvidia dropping to 2%. So right now we're just in QBTS. Apple, which was strong, is underneath VWAP now. Fighting a sneeze. Underneath VWAP now. So I don't like it under VWAP. Instead, I wanted to hold VWAP or wait for the 210 level. And then the other name that we're looking for, Bitcoin's at 81.5, by the way. And Mara is almost at 12. It's at 1235 right now.
Yeah,
so
I have that Mara.
If we get to 80,000 on Bitcoin, I always said if we get to 80,000, you probably see the 12 on Mara. We're at 81 and you're at 1230. So Mara dip buy could easily come into play in the next few minutes or so, down 5% already because of what's happening over in Bitcoin, losing the bottom and continuing lower. I have 45.5 as support there on IBIT, whatever that works out to, but as long as we're above there and Mara's above 12, I want to look for that dip buy. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Mara there, because this was a name that exactly we looked at and we talked about it. We actually bidding it at 1225. So this was a name that we talked when it was thrown to me for Bitcoin. We should have looked at IBIT. I know Neil was doing IBIT, so I just picked Mara. Really like that level. Let's see if 1225. Remember, we're sitting there. We talked about sitting there, so hopefully that will come into play there. So good out for Tesla. We actually got 223.23s there, and we'll take another piece out as it's starting to get back up to the upside. But good move there for Tesla. $6. We'll take that early on TSLA. What up, A?
Here in Finvolution Group, not quite a small cap, just under $2 billion market cap. This is a day one earnings play for FINV. Worth noting here, nice push to the upside, not a ton of volume. I think last time I checked here a couple seconds ago, it was just under 800,000 shares traded on the day. So not a ton of volume as of yet, but this one on watch. Also watch your SRPT. This is Sarepta Pharmaceuticals. This one pretty weak here, heading into pre-market lows, gapping down about 20%. This one was featured on the watch list, but basically announcing that one of their treatments did seem to inadvertently lead to the death of a patient. So SRPT and FINV both on watch this morning. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. A bit of a break of VWAP there on QBTS. So it did the hold, the low. It took 80% out. We just got the rest out at VWAP. I'm like, why am I going to sit on the offer here at 10.20 when it's doing this bounce? Allow it to get back up, make the curl, and try and catch on the back end. Let it make the top and then participate after. The other thing that's going on, Intel and Nvidia have been diverged, same with AMD, but Intel is now running to the upside and up 1.4%.
Good.
AMD suddenly not looking as relatively strong when I see Intel breaking out, but higher look, Intel resistance at 26.6. So it's a little tight to that high. I prefer AMD, so I'm going to stick with AMD as a short idea, because that's not nearly as strong. If we get dragged up, decent chance to be able to get that pre-market high, or at least a test closer to 105 that we're looking to grab the shorts on here in advanced micro devices. Market's trying to bounce. Already had our one short. I think one of the next bounce we're getting an opportunity there on AMD. And as I said, QBTS, allow it to try to come back into that high, put in a top, and then do the reversion. It's SSR. You do not want to stand in front of this freight train when it tries to catch a bid.
Oh, all right. Yeah, just loving life, man. The other play that we had was Intel. I mean, we're still going lower, man, on Tesla. We had Intel written down as a 25.25 long, and it got into 25.40. So we missed that trade by 14 cents, and then it goes about 80 cents. So we'll wait to see if that one wants to come back in. We're into Mara. So this was a trade that we had pegged for a minute. We're just in his light shares. We're going to wait to see if it gets a little bit lower. So we'll wait to see what happens with Mara back there too, hopefully the downside. But honestly, I mean, this is Tesla. Now $6. We talked about, you know, this trade from time. The number one trade idea on the stick, you know, the number one trade idea here is Tesla. We like that QBTS trade, but we've only been in one each, and I think anyways. Here we go to the downside, man. Tesla now $6, $7. Like, I don't really see like that 218 is something that we looked at right there. That's 218 and change. Why don't we just wait for that? We'll put a bid here at 220. I want to, it's already a very special day. I mean, you know, like I said, 9:45, hitting these goals and being able to discuss it with you, it's pretty cool. Palantir, are we going to get to $80 on that name here again? Down 6% today for PLTR. Again, we wrote down 88. That didn't come into play. We also, the thing about it is you got to have that spidey sense. This is actually what trading is all about. We can always look at our sticky notes and say, well, it didn't get to that level, right? Neither did Tesla. I mean, Tesla did not get to our levels there today, but we had seen the weakness, and we talked about right there shorting into the pre-market, right? Pops any break of the, spelled incorrectly, the pre-market bottom early. You know, so we looked at it. We said that we didn't really have a pre-market break per se there on Tesla. So we just let it go upside there and give us those levels. And then boom. You know what the stop was on this, Neil? 30 cents to make 600 cents. So like that right there, like hopefully you guys are able to, we talked about where our stop was. Actually, that's not true. Our stop was 230.25s. So we had actually about a 50 to 60 cent stop there. So right there, that's kind of, you know, the pressure that we're looking for. And when you get into those trades, it's like that TQQ trade that we spilled out for you guys yesterday. It was the same type of play where you came into a level that we thought could have been supported, and it winds up being exactly that. So we only have about 12% left of this trade. We got a couple good outs. We took some 224s, 225 a little bit, and then we just got a great fill down there at the bottom of 223.80. So now we'll just wait for it. Because we don't have too much left, we can almost wait for it to go all the way back up. But we'll put an offer here around 226. If it breaks, a stop out. If it breaks through there, then we will get out of some. My stop is still in there, 230.25s. So far, so good here for Tesla. We'll wait for Intel to come in, and we do have Mara down here as well. So we'll wait to see if this does anything. Maybe we can get some out at 1240. Yeah, I wrote down Intel long.
QBTS.
Love Intel long.
QBTS isn't green. I know someone said that, but it is through the highs. So remember, get it out when it starts reversing because it's SSR. But we had 12s giving it to this local high at 21. It's broken that out. It's still in the range of the bottom of yesterday's move, but now it has to do a trend reversal break. So that's the trade that we that we like, but once it breaks that high, you got to get in, get out. It's no different from an SSR bounce, trying to do that continuation short. But Intel is at the $26 level. 26.5 is the high if you go out to the daily chart, and then 26 is the top from yesterday, 26.16. So this is the area that it did a reversion before. So we're going to look for like a trend reversion type trade on Intel, but let it settle down a bit. MAR is not quite there yet, but Bitcoin is kind of holding 81,000, but MAR doesn't seem to want to get all the way down to 12. I'm waiting till 12.12 because I want that 12 level to be able to come in. But we said we'd look for reversions on these. Bitcoin on a 3-minute IBIT, I should say, hasn't had a green candle yet, and we're almost in the bottom end of the range from Friday. Check that Thursday on Bitcoin. So I'd like to see it a little bit further down. I still think MAR has a chance to get 12 even. But I said I like the reversion on IBIT as well. It's possible we could have a trend break on IBIT and then take a shot at that long before MAR even gets to $12. So I have this one up. Not going to be fighting that QBTS unless it shows me a curl, and looking for the trend reversal on the early move here in IBIT. So looking for it to close above the trend line. Does that. Look for the long into VWAP.
Okay. We've got this in Mara only, right? We could put out a Mara fill. I don't know. We want more shares on this one. So we'll just for example, we'll offer up here in the 30s, 35. See if we can get 10 cents on it. All right, so that's that. Let's look to something else. We talked about Marvell, how I kind of like the long there. That was more, longer term, talking about some of these levels. Nice move down, 2%, looking to buy this one possibly there in and around lunchtime. We'll pick up some Marvell, I think. Apple, I was actually looking at that. It was a nice move to the downside there. We talked about shorting 215 again. We picked our poison with Tesla, and obviously we've done pretty well with that one. But there's your 215 down to 213 again. So that's an absolute banger again right there. That's a face slapper. We should have shorted it. I mean, we talked about it, we wrote it down, but we did not take it there at 215. So Apple makes its way down. Now I kind of like the 213 long, especially if that was just a temporary flush in this market, down 1.4% in the NASDAQ. So we'll wait to see if that can get going now as well. But all right, here we go, man. Tesla still resisting, man, resisting that move. We were going to take it out if it broke 226.25. It gets to 226.10s. Good thing we don't get triggered, and sometimes you're lucky when that does happen right there. So Tesla back downside for right now. AMD, let's have a quick check on that as it's sort of, it's barcoding right now.
It's not doing anything.
Nah, this could be a good short though.
I like it. I'm on the offer. It's not going up though.
Yeah. The offer, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about a short even just right now, just punching that short. There it goes, trying to make new lows right now on AMD. It'd have to break 103 for that to happen. So we'll wait on that. I mean, I'm still holding out hope that our good friend here, Tesla, can get a little bit lower. Broadcom, Apple, Uber, Disney. The other name that we wrote down, QBTS. We can have a quick look over there as well. QBTS, nah, not good enough. We should have shorted the 200 period. I'm still waiting for 1080 on a pop. Blah. Too bad that didn't come through for us. And then PLTR, man, we had wrote down the short. Again, we just stuck with Tesla. Palantir down there. I don't think you buy this name, honestly. Depends what you think about the market, but like this 80, I almost feel like I just have to wait for 80, 81.50, something like that until we can get, a decent all clear here for Palantir, because this name yesterday was by far my worst name, and it was giving me headaches all day just thinking about it. So we'll hold off on that one. If there's any other names here, man.
Quick note.
Yeah, go.
If you want to short Google today, you have to pay for locator.
Yeah, I had to yesterday. Remember?
There's a few names. It's ridiculously cheap. Like it was absurdly cheap. I
don't know what's up with that.
A bunch of decimal places and then a 2 was what it cost. But I just noticed that on another stock I wanted to look at. I'm like, I have to pay today on some locates. So just reminding you there. So there was a trend break here. He's attempting to on IBIT. There is the hold. Break of the trend. Gonna give it to the low at this point. MAR didn't get to $12, but Bitcoin's at 81 and holding at least for now. So doing that trend break. I see we got 10,000 people watching and lots of them interested in this market drop and the destruction that we're seeing. I've only had a short, and now we're looking into our first long in here. Hit that like, hit the subscribe. If there's something we're not looking at, like Google, I didn't even know was dropping like that. and let us know.
Google's getting killed.
Because Alphabet is getting smoked, but the market's getting smoked at this point. So I think at this point, like it's just the trend is to the downside. If anything breaks low, I'm going to be getting out. Like IBIT just broke the low. Trend trade's not going to end up working out. I do want to get into qubits again or D-Wave again. I still think there's a chance this short can get us back into that low of the day, but I wanted to see it make a high that we can work off of, break its trend, and then work from that lower high, which at this point, it's about 1050 top. If it can show me a lower high, then I get an entry point into QBTS, or re-entry point, I should say, into QBTS. But IBIT does not hold after breaking the trend. Once it makes the fresh low, I'm out. Try to keep it tight if you're going against the grain. I'm still bidding Mara, but it's no longer, like it's still kind of trending down, but not really falling into that $12 level that we're trying to get. And then the last one was AMD. AMD's still in the barcode. If it's barcoding like this, to me, like wait for the short up top as opposed to trying to fight it. It's not breaking the low when everything else is. Behaving quite different from the rest of the chip names. I mean, Nvidia is down 3 points. AMD just barcoding.
I'm going to go in and, he's ready for the banana.
Unavailable.
I'm going to go in and get some of those shorts. GL, talk about it. We'll get 500 shares. White Lotus? I can't see her name. I don't know what she looks. Oh, she's the. Oh yeah, she's one of the moms. She's one of the, not the moms, one of the girls. There's 3 girls that are there on a girls retreat.
That actor.
Right there. I didn't see the latest episode, so
we
have to watch that tomorrow. We were a little late getting home from
the rink.
From the rink yesterday. Yeah. They had dry land afterwards. They have a tournament coming up in Brampton Easter weekend, so we'll be in Brampton. Okay, so Tesla right now, I don't know. Like we have. All right, you know what? 223.80 again. Let's just put another bid there if we get filled. I mean, I was thinking as we were talking about like, I paid for short for Google. So for 500 shares, it cost me 16 cents. So that's basically a nothing burger rate there. Just if Tesla keeps coming back in, it looks like we just made that bottom one more time at 223.50. So I might as well, like no matter what you know what? I'd hate for this. I don't hate for it to be the bottom. I mean, I'd like for it to be continue a little bit lower, but we'll just take a piece that we just punched out right there because we didn't get that low. And honestly, the amount of shares that we have left, still great. But yeah, I don't, 224.20 versus 223.80. Sure, it means something, but at the end of the day, I don't know. It looks like we're going to get it. I actually canceled it. Looks like we would have potentially got it. I just hate missing those. And, makes a difference, right, to make sure that you do catch some of these bottoms. And there's one thing about holding on to shares and trying to make that money. Like I said, just this one trade alone, we've made our day right there. It's 9:56. Go golfing if you have this trade. But Google right now, I will be actually adding to this name. This has been a huge downside move now for Google, and we might as well. I've been buying the index, but I can't really see why Google's taking this big of a hit again.
Why is Reddit down 10%?
Yeah, Reddit sucks too, man. This is another name that once Reddit gets into that level, which is right here, we were talking about 108 as the bottom. Everything is getting killed today, like absolutely everything.
But there was no new.
We talked about the Qs earlier. And it was like, what's going on with the Qs, right? What's going on with Palantir? Like, why is the Nasdaq down this far? I don't know. Looking at just the Nasdaq by itself here, if we're gonna have a quick look at the daily chart, we were saying to ourselves, like, that was a nice bump up over the last couple days, but you're gonna give it all back right now. 473.60, like, that's everything back. You thought you had a nice little rally those last couple days. Slap. 474. I don't know, man. These TQs, man, we were getting excited about this. Down 5%. Look at this one continuously falling. All right, there it is, man. It is a slapper. It is Tesla. Sharif, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sharif, keep dancing because it's $7 right now in the money as we go lower, man. We're waiting for 222.50. We did it, Fabian. That's it. The trader is here. We are back in here. Are we entertained? I hope you are. I feel bad. I am long this name and getting absolutely killed. I said to Neil earlier, I said, and even to all of you guys, I'm like, why? I think this name is going way lower. There's not one name that I own that I hate more than Tesla, but I still hold it. Neil's like, well, then sell it. I'm like, I can't. It's too far down. But is it? Maybe it goes lower here. There goes Tesla, man. Hey, we're printing today on this name. So traders unite, man. I hope today has been one of those days for you, because I know it has been for me. Yeah, get it. Let's go, man. Yeah, look. We're just getting excited. I mean, we created this show for excitement and for energy. Like you guys just sitting there snoozing it up, taking these small little trades. It's great. It makes a lot of money. That's fine if you're able to do that. But we're going to get excited when this stuff happens. I mean, if not me, then who, right? So we got to wait to see what happens here with Tesla. If it's too loud, turn the volume down. But let's get going here. Tesla, huge move, man, $7. I mean, yeah, we're going to celebrate that. It's the only trade that we have. We're sitting on our hands until now. Mara, unfortunately, not doing too much right now, down 2 cents. I mean, we don't have a big position. We're going to wait for 12.15, which is what we talked about earlier. If it breaks that 12.15 marker, I mean, we can get a little bit more even right now. We'll take some more here at 12.23 and see what winds up happening. But at the end of the day, I like Mara down here. Let's see if it holds 12 bucks. That would be what it is, man. No risk, no reward. And I think you're right about that one, day trader, pro day trader.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
Nice.
This is I'm wearing the pity the fool shirt. I don't even know why we're not making new ones on those.
We only made that thing like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's not new. We need to shoot some new ones, Fabian. Intel, I said we're going to do the
These guys don't do anything all day, right, guys?
Well, they're not busy at all. We shot some stuff yesterday in the middle of the day. That's why I didn't have a lesson of the day. Some fun stuff that we'll be putting out for you guys that hopefully you'll enjoy. But I said we're taking some reversion trades at this point, so I did grab Intel. Got 94, local high. Once it broke the trend was 02, so 9 cents risk. It goes right into pre-market support and bounces. So we took some out in front of VWAP, and then we covered it when it reverted back through this 25.65 area. So just get the mean revert trade. So waited for it. It got up into the highs. Once it curled, going to take that short. It's all about our risk reward. AMD finally came in and put in a lower high at 103.80. So VWAP sits at 60. I have my stop at the lower high here, so just over the 103.80 level. Don't like the even dollar stops, like a couple shekels above there, but it's still range bound. Like it's not moving the same way the market is. So as much as I like the setup overall in AMD because the trend's been down so much, got to acknowledge the fact that it might be like a smaller percentage move, and might be is an understatement relative to Nvidia, because Nvidia is absolutely dropping like a rock still, down 4% and still going. The only Mag 7 name that isn't getting destroyed is Apple, which is flat and kind of battling back and forth. And even Apple doesn't look all that great because it's starting to lose VWAP in here as well. So we took it, we got in and out of Intel for the reversion trade. We're in AMD, and QBTS just wicked the high, looking for the lower high to re-enter that short trade. But not going to force it. It's making higher lows and higher highs at this point. That's not a setup to re-enter the short. So while it was a great short and top idea I liked at the open, it's not setting up again here. So let's go to happening now with Adair. It's already 10 o'clock.
Let's go.
This is the market you're heading into. I mean, we're still basically at day's lows, down about 2% for that NASDAQ. S&P 500 down about 1.16%. So NASDAQ definitely underperforming the SPY as mega cap names like Nvidia, Tesla, and Meta are all really weak here. We do have on watch for the FOMC meeting, but another event on watch is going to be Jensen Huang's keynote here at Nvidia's GTC conference. Now, I'm seeing a lot of different dates from it, even from the company itself. On their official website countdown, it says that this starts in 58 minutes, or that would be 11 a.m. Eastern, but also here on their YouTube, it says the stream begins at 12:40. Regardless, I'll be there giving you guys this Nvidia coverage, whenever they choose to start their keynote. Also on watch here, we have GOOGL. In terms of a catalyst, we did have initially reports last night, then confirmation they've actually done a $32 billion acquisition here that's come out today. So looking to acquire a company here, I believe Wix, for GOOGL. It's a cybersecurity company for them being acquired. So Google on acquisition news to the downside. Back to you.
Just to be clear, because I read an article that said the keynote was specifically at 1 o'clock. And I know I'd made a typo in my note this morning. I did correct it, but I had the keynote is starting at 1 o'clock. But obviously, we'll keep our ear to the ground. The event is for a couple of days here, so I don't know why the keynote's on the second day. It doesn't make any sense to me. Someone's asking why AMD. It's still underneath prior day low. It's barcoding underneath prior day support to turn into resistance. So it's held under VWAP for now, but if it breaks that lower high, I'll get out and just want to maybe work into a better trade. Ideally, that would be QBTS, but as I said, that is not setting up as a short again. It is still strong, still trending to the upside, and don't want to fight it. Intel, that was a reversion on a strong stock. Like to see, it's putting in a higher low right now, would like to see it hold a lower high, and then work back into that short as well. So do not have to fight it at all in Intel, although it is now red side. And hopefully QBTS gives us a turn. AMD, it's got to break the low. I have a bid at the low of the day, and I think play the range until it breaks it, but I'm looking for the low of the day break on this bad boy. Mara, I still haven't gotten any entries in Mara. It's gliding down. It tagged 15s, and I'm sitting 12s. Ugh. So maybe, all right, that's a distinction without a difference. I'm going to sit some in the teens, just move it around a little bit, because Mara, I think, is going to get to this level. I don't want to miss it. It's not just last week at $12 that it got to. Go all the way back, and it's been holding this level for a while. End of February, it bottomed out pretty nicely off that level. So if we can get that long, we're going to go for it. The weed name's not doing anything, so we're backing off of those. QBTS still looking way too strong to short.
Yeah, the only other trade that we have is Mara, so of course we're bidding down there. Like we said back, when we looked at crypto about 9 o'clock, was a number that we liked for Mara, was down into here. So we'll start to buy it. We'll start to build a position down here for Mara. I am bidding 15s. It looks like it got to 15 by 16 maybe, and we didn't get the fill, so that's okay. We'll wait to see if that comes through right now. Just liking that one trade right now. And again, we are going to get. So I did put a stop out. Now we have half waiting for us at 226. If it breaks 226, we'll get out. We just got a couple more outs right now, so just into 5% right here left on this name. So yeah, not much else going on. We do have that Mara long at 22s. We'll see if that wants to work. Neil's already in AMD, so I'm going to leave that one alone for now. We can look back over at Nvidia or Palantir. So let me have a quick little look there. I just want to trade the names that are hot, right? We used to. We'll wait for the midday show. We used to trade. I'm waiting for QBTS, but again, just trying to stay like where I trade, and that is pretty much the Mag 7 and very similar names. So I want to thank everybody for joining there today. 116.50 for Nvidia is where VWAP is. So got to wait for that. We did talk about if Nvidia gets down into 114, and like again, just missed trades, right? Like if Nvidia gets down in, I guess you can't see it on a 1 minute chart. If Nvidia gets down to 114, this was a level that we talked about buying. So right into there, 114.60, it came right in again and gave you that long one more time. It just wasn't looking there. So you have to be there. You have to be on these stocks. You have to be looking at them in order to get that, right? And so missed opportunity for sure on Nvidia. And again, another one that we had talked about. So what can you do, right? Just got to be on them and try to focus just a little bit more on that one. So that's Nvidia. We should have been there. We're not. But I think I still like the short and everything. The market is down, as Neil was mentioning. Like, you got to find the stocks to trade. There's so much opportunity. We have unlimited amounts. So obviously that one of the best opportunities that Neil's found right now is AMD. One of the best opportunities I found is Mara and Tesla. So this is what we're working with. These are the best opportunities that we're finding, which is why we're trading these names. So there's going to be missed opportunities all around the place. So let us know if there's anything you're looking at. I'm going to just keep on looking. 83.50 there. If we get a shot in the arm, that's a place that we'll look here for Palantir. Let's let it settle down. But yeah, this is why we're in these trades. We have the opportunity to trade any stock. So we're choosing these ones. So hopefully they'll be able to work out for us. And right now I'm just sitting in this Tesla trade, waiting for that. And oh boy, here we go, man. Hot dog gun it up, man. Again, another name that we talked about earlier with Mara. There it goes. Boom. We reloaded it. You guys know that we started with 50 shares just as a joke, and there it is. Nice move back up there to the upside for MARA starting to go. Look, it's only 11 cents. Let's see if we can get a little bit more on that one, but it's just about stacking up a little bit here as Travolta's like, Scientology? All right, so there it goes, 1234, 1235 right now for Mara. We'll go deuces today and hopefully be able to find some more winners for you as we go, man. 2 for 2 on the day. Just these 3 positions right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been one at a time, and I don't think I've been in 2 stocks at the same moment. Apple looks like it's just incredibly strong. Stick a fork in 210. Yeah, it's not going to dip. Obviously, the market went down, and Apple decided it wanted to hold up, so the support level's not going to come into play. But it's starting to look a little bit better on the higher lows to maybe look at a VWAP trade because it's after 10 o'clock now, so that crazy action is already gone. I don't want to take any breakouts, already said. So if it's not going to be off of 210, I'm going to look at that VWAP trade for the first time. QBTS is still, man, it's still super strong. Higher lows, higher highs, needs to revert. It's still at 1050. So the whole thesis of that bottom end of the range in the morning yesterday being resistance, it can still revert from here. But I'm not taking the entry point because there is no top that's working at this moment on QBTS. So like I have an out, at least with AMD. I wouldn't have a good one if I just sort of shorted QBTS right now because it's flying. Intel, on the other hand, is a different story because Intel, suddenly the lower high in VWAP is starting to get respected. So if it can close underneath VWAP, this is one I can jump back into to try and take that short trade. And there was a small cap. I was looking at the weed names.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but the problem is, so CGC, like it could squeeze. A lot of people were saying CGC is going to squeeze today. That's great, and it was up 10%, but it's under VWAP the whole time. So I've got it kind of up on the sidebar if it can start to hold the volume-weighted average price and break this downtrend, because it was moving. It's down so much that it doesn't take much for it to go 10, 20%, but it really needs to break the downtrend. Like everything else, it's just falling. You can't force it. If there's a small capper that's running that I haven't seen, let us know, because at this moment, I'm just looking at the same stocks, AMD, QBTS, Intel. I had Tesla up, but it was so far away from the level, so I didn't get into it. I'm glad Sean did. And a little bit of CGC if it can break what right now is a big pullback.
This will just bounce again off 223. Oh, okay. Let's just put a bid.
ADTF.
Let's put a bid. 223.10s there. I mean, it just keeps on bouncing. We'll, like I said, if you guys are with this trade with me, I was watching the 50 period. So I'm just going to use 226. That was always going to be the out. We haven't broke through there yet. So that's the out for half of what we have left here. I just put another bid at 223.10s. And I do have that bid still at 220.50. So let's see if that can come in here. Ooh, someone's long. What's up, Justin? I'm not long, but that's all good. He says with me. Here. Are you doing a 223 maybe, not 233? Yeah, if you're going bid long at 223, Justin and everybody else there, I don't think that's horrible. Remember, we're day trading, right? And so, like I was saying, if you're long with me, man, the last time I bought this name was at 330. So, yeah, okay, here we come, right back in now for test. I bought this name $100 ago. That's how smart I am. Let's just see what winds up happening here to the downside, right? And so, like I said, I don't have a problem telling you guys, you know, the long-term positions that we have. We bought Berkshire. That's at all-time highs. We have this name as well. I have pretty much every name. So talking about winning trades here today, and then also talking about our long-term portfolio, which is not doing the greatest right now, but still great returns. Remember yesterday or last week with Joe, I showed him. We've been buying Tesla for a long time, man. So we're still up a lot on this, but it's unrealized losses that are starting to add up on a lot of these names. So yeah, there it is, Justin. Yeah, long 223. Okay, good. That's what I thought you meant there, my guy.
It couldn't have been long.
There it is. Yes, sir. Yeah, 223. There it is right there. Let's go, man. It's a slapper. There's the trade, man. It is that. Yeah, we've had $7 before when Sharif was dancing. Now it's a $7 winner again right there. So here we go, man. Big time trade alert. Just the one trade will lead the way, man. We don't even need anything else. This is going to be a good one here. Let's just see what winds up happening now. I want to get into some chip names as well to the short side. I wasn't even paying attention there. Apple right back to 215 again. Oh boy. Like, sometimes this is what it is, man. Nice downside there. Yeah, Jay Lee convinced Tesla's going to 180. Yeah, for pretty much I am as well, which is so stupid. I need to be getting out of it, and I'm not.
Well, if you look at the weekly chart, you might actually think a different price.
Yeah, Google right now as well. Yeah, we can have a look at some weekly charts.
The weekly says 145.
Oh, God, hopefully not. Google 158. Like, part of me is just like, I might just go in there and buy this right now on the show live. But 10, 12, we don't do that. At 11 o'clock, I'll be adding to some of my Google. I mean,
yeah, we always
4%.
do it in. It's just a thing that we don't trade our personal accounts while we're live on the show. Like I wanted to sell Alibaba yesterday. I didn't sell any until it was the middle of the day. Like it was around lunchtime. It is what it is. It's just we don't have to because you're not day trading that stock. It's not like you're hitting yourself, but it's just a thing we've decided to do. No, the only reason before I get over to Intel, because I want to be patient with this entry, Intel's getting back toward that high and pressing the high again. So I want to see if it'll revert the same price. But on Tesla, on the weekly chart, you're losing the 200 on the weekly. And this downward trend that it was in that kind of broke from the highs, I don't know why this doesn't connect. But that trend break, if you keep it in there, that's where you get 170 would be the trend bottom. But on the weekly, the higher lows are like 140 bucks. So that's where a support level is on Tesla's weekly. But Intel, just like QBTS, like you get the reversion off the high, it's back at the high. So it needs to show me that it's still short up at that level. Last time it sat there, gave you like 10 minutes of consolidation before breaking the trend. So we can be that patient if it wants to do the same thing again. And QBTS, this is now just gone. Like it's only down 5%. It's still making higher highs and higher lows. So I don't know if this is going to be the short reentry that we wanted to be able to grab. So we got it at the open. It gave you your 5 points, but at this point, it's just running to the upside, and we got to look for some kind of a long somewhere. What's so stupid?
I was saying Tesla, like, it's so stupid. It's just falling. It's like uncontrollably going down, and I just feel...
It's getting keyed.
Keyed?
Well, kind of like...
Oh, the Tesla car? When you said keyed there, I was like thinking about the keynote for Jensen.
No.
I was like, oh no, don't tell me Nvidia chips are in the new Model Y. But
it's going to be ugly for a while.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad that we had written this down. Again, it is your #1 trade idea here on the sticky note, and it didn't quite hit our levels, but we just shorted it, and we were lucky enough to average into it, man, twice. So it's a big one. It's a good trade, man. Like, I'm happy with the performance of this. I'm bidding 220.50s before I want to get out of more. I don't feel bad. Like, we've gotten out of great levels here, and it's just continually going lower right there on Tesla. This is one of the worst days, man. The NASDAQ down 2% at 10.15. I don't even think Donald's even thinking about speaking yet. Like what happens when we start ramming more tariffs down people's throats again, and this market even gets dumped even harder? Like, I don't know. I just don't see any green shoots coming from the White House right now, and especially Tesla. BYD coming out with that fast charging car system. And also we had, there was another negative story. Oh yeah, the full self-drive now being readily available. Yeah, and some of those Chinese names there as well. So, and then plus everybody hates Elon. So I don't say everybody, but you know, he's losing some love there for sure. And I think it's overdone, obviously, and that's why when I say, like, I think it's going lower, but yet don't want to sell, like, it's just same as Google, honestly. Like, when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at Google, both make me want to.
But Google fundamentally, based on price, historically is at a really good price. Like, historically, if you look at a historical PE in Google, you're getting a good value on the stock. That's different. That's a difference.
But I think that's the problem, though. It's like why is Google at an 18 PE right now? Like, I get nervous because Google's getting smacked, and it's just like Meta should be getting smacked and probably will. Like, these things go in stages.
Well, Meta's not looking that great. Meta's getting moked today.
They're all down today. I mean, today is like hugely down, right?
Yeah,
but
4%, Joe.
Yeah, huge. But I think Meta is not even, it's not even, what I'm getting at is not even at its 200 period yet. Like, Google is way underneath. Like, you think Meta's getting smoked today, like, wait till they turn the shorts on Meta. Then this name is $5 bills before you can even blink. So, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, Meta is actually holding up compared to many of these other names. And that's sad to say when you look at the chart. So I don't again, man, I was talking with a money manager on Sunday, manages huge amounts for TD, and he's like asking me for buy signals. I'm like, bro, I just host a show and act like I know what I'm doing. Like, you're supposed to know. This is a huge move to the downside, and nobody is safe from Donald and the NASDAQ continuing to make this move. We got out of half.
Especially if we have a recession.
Yeah, we got out of half of our Mara here, up at 1230, well, actually 1233s, 1232s. Then we got out a little bit more here as we broke back down below. We're long at 1221s, 1222s. Actually 1221 half, so just didn't give us the juice, but tried to get to VWAP. This is why I'm trying to focus on a little bit of positioning instead of 4 or 5 like we can have often. It's like, let's just play the names that we like and try to play them hard, right? So, yep, good. Thank you, Fabian, on that one. I'm not acknowledging the poll until it gets anywhere near the likes that we have. So right now, hit the like, subscribe if you voted on the poll. 224.50 is my next stop there because that's where the 50-period moving average is. So we'll get out of some more if it pops up $2. But our stop on this initial trade, guys, was 50 cents. So right now, the fact that we're in the money, $7, 700 cents, that's pretty good. There, I just heard some news about Google as well. So, oh, there's news about Amazon and Google. Maybe Adara. We haven't had too many breaks from Adara today because there's not too much news. But people wondering why Google's getting canned. Well, and Amazon also down 2.5.
Well, it could be the acquisition. Maybe you don't.
Wiz for 30 billion or whatever that number was? No.
No, I'm just saying the only story that's recent that we know of is the Wiz story. So I don't know what else is going on there. Just a couple.
I'm the Wiz.
Before we get to the, I'll put. You guys know what I already picked based on what I was just saying about the Tesla chart. But the Intel, I was not patient enough on the reload, and it's only now trying to revert the trend. But I gave it to yesterday's high. If it does another trend break, this is the kind of entry you should have, like tight. Give it to the high after it's made the high. So I'll look for it to do that. AMD's starting to come down, but I voted for 150 because I looked at that weekly chart and was showing you guys 145 to 140 on the weekly on Tesla. Looks like a pretty good level. So that's the only reason I said that price. But let's go to, I believe, I heard we're going back to Adara. I am still in AMD. It's only now starting to break the lows and want to get reloaded at VWAP. But this is a stock that it's been doing a pattern of really strong days into the highs and trying to work the short. But it's so far away from 105 at this point where I thought the top was going to be that it's not the trade that I was thinking was going to happen. And we didn't really get any money fills into that prior bottom. Like 104 to 105 didn't even exist. So I'm shorted at VWAP. Ideally, it would be at a much higher price. But if it comes up there, I'll reload to this local high, at least for now. Let's go to Adara. No? Did I hear Adara? My bad.
What we did.
So we're going to do the small cap recap as well, but I want to talk about Google. So the headline that came through here, I really think it's important to contextualize this. I didn't even see this through an X. I found it on Benzinga. The headline is a title of an article by The Information. It says, Amazon's quest to displace Google as the internet ad power broker. So this is purely a opinion piece as far as I can tell from The Information. It's always hidden behind a paywall. But based on this title and based on previous content from The Information, it just sounds like they did this article about how Amazon's looking to replace Google as a main name here in internet ads. It seems purely speculative as far as I can tell it, again, based on past content. So be aware here, this headline is more about Amazon's, I guess, theoretical mission to displace Google as an internet ad power broker. It does not seem to be a specific news catalyst. So I think that's important to contextualize. With regards to the small caps, IWM here, kind of in a bit of a downtrend. We did have a rounded top, if you look from the end of yesterday to the pre-market, post-market, and what we're currently doing right now. This push to the downside off the open and some attempts, however, for recovery. UP FinTech here, TIGR is the ticker for this one. This is an ADR, and this one actually rallies semi-frequently. This name had earnings. This is an earnings day one play. Not a super small cap name either. It's above $1 billion market cap. Then we have ADTX. ADTX is the ticker for this one. It's another name that's rallied in the past. We have about a 66% short float, so pretty significant, announcing that they submitted an application for federal funding opportunities. So they have not received the funding, but they submitted an application to do so. And last but not least, HMR Heidmar. This company combined with MGO Global a couple weeks ago. No new catalyst for this one. HMR had a bit of a catalyst on Friday, but right now just pushing to the upside for this ticker, Heidmar, guys. Back to you.
Mar, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide Mar. All right, so there it is, man. A little bit out right there, so we'll props it up at 224.25. I mean, that's what we talked about. We have less than 5% left now, so far so good, man. Our next out is VWAP, and then that will hold, and then we'll keep like 1% and see what winds up happening on the next move. Well, a little bit more than that. We'll probably keep about 2 or 3% actually, as our last little out will happen right there. That's that wick high. This initially was one of our stops, and then this happened, so we changed it to the 50 period. Now you're getting a little bit of a trend change, but guess what, everybody?
I know what I like.
It's Mara time again. So we'll go deuces like we said, man. Here's a nice little 14-cent win on Mara. We talked about buying the dips there. This is just another trade that we have on board here today, both Mara and Tesla right now. Pretty good. So we'll just continue to watch out for that. Why is Disney showing up on my screen here? Oops, that's not Disney. That's Disney down there, which is not what we want to change. Disney over here. We got to get this back to the futures. Disney 98 and change. Now it's still under, I think it's just a VWAP scanner. Underneath VWAP right there. We have to change back our NASDAQ NQ. Should show up. It was HM. No, it's M now. M25.
Oh, that's right. It's just on Monday. We should
yeah, it's actually CM.
Didn't
what am
save
I typing?
for me, actually.
Yeah, so we'll get that in there and get the new marker down here for the NASDAQ. But so far, so good there. Yeah, Disney up at $99. So the futures have changed, right, on the NASDAQ. So now you want to trade the June contract, not the March contract that expires at the end of the week. Right here, will start to lose its volume there on the third Friday. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here in Taboola. TBLA Axios reporting that the company has struck a deal to sell Microsoft display ads. So TBLA reportedly with a Microsoft deal, according to Axios. Back to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sarah Dara, and thank you for reminding me to double check. We're in a new version, but I thought I changed it yesterday. On the top of my trade rate is Alphabet, Amazon, Intel, Nvidia. Like it's all the same name, but Robinhood is also near the top of that list. So it's down 6 points and just it's trending heavily to the downside. Let's put it that way. And there was a supply zone at about 38, 39. I usually like those for a reversion trade, but if you like it, this was a level where it was bouncing and it's doing a heck of a lot of relative volume, and it was a big mover in yesterday's trade. The problem with that is when we were doing the morning recap, I said I wanted it to hold the prior highs. So if it gets to 39, that would violate that rule. So it needed to break this and hold 40s on a reversion. So I'm not going to take it at that 39 level, even though it looks like it's set up. I want it to be above that 40. Intel, I'm kind of glad we didn't mess with this. Whoops. INTC. I'm kind of glad that we didn't mess with this too heavily up at that top, because it just wicked the high and then held the prior high here to go continuously long. So it's now a 2% up move on Intel, gave some of it back. We took our shot at AMD and it played the range, but now it's breaking the range. So AMD will go back to the original thesis that we want to wait for it to be at the 5 range and just let it get there at this point. If it gets to 105, then we can start looking at that prior high. And then the last one before we go back, and we're going back to Adara, QBTS, and not the warrants. I don't even know why that's an option. QBTS, still trending higher, hasn't really given you any reason for a reversion, but at least it's a clean trend. So at this point, if it were to break the trend, it'll be kind of obvious to see, and then I will look for the short. The higher it goes, the further away VWAP gets, and the better opportunity for the reversion on QBTS. Because I do want to look for the revert on this stock.
Oh, I'm just going to go short soon.
Yeah, like it's almost at that high of 11. I liked it at 1020, but there's a decent chance that this can get to that 11. I'm looking for the trend reversal on QBTS still. I just heard a note on US Steel, but it's not moving.
All right, I'll short QBTS. I'm shorting QBTS right here. I was waiting at 1080 for that short. I'm going to take it right here, right now, and just see what winds up happening. So that's QBTS. I was waiting for 1080. It looks like we just got, like, what am I sitting on? Like, I'm sitting on NASDAQ. That's twice now. I got to get on something else, because if we were on anything else, we'd be short now at 1080 for QBTS. So we had written that down. It's too bad. Like, we were basically nailed that top again there. So that's, congratulations to anybody that had that one. And then there it is right now, a nice little move to the downside for QBTS. Let's see if how low it can go. I'll bid out for 10 cents. and see if that will work. So there goes QBTS. 1040 also maybe a level that we could bid. So let's bid there as well. We'll put this one in our pipe and smoke it again and see if we can go 3 for 3. And by the way, our second trade of the day that we just tweeted out, well, again, we just got out of it, so we talked about our second trade, Mara, 1040 right there. So a nice 20-cent winner there. So we're going to go. Hopefully we can get out of some QBTS and go that 3 for 3. But again, I'm not like, the level that we had talked about here on the sticky note was 11. So let's wait. We'll get that 1080, 20 cents worth of risk I think is worth it. That's 11. I think if we break 11, it probably goes, it could even get to 12 there. A lot of people love this stock and, you know, don't want to see themselves losing. So I could really see this one supporting. How about 11.15 as our eventual out? So now that I've thought about that, let's cancel our 10, well, we'll take some at 1080 there. We probably just got it. Yeah, so it's not a huge position. I want to get long, shorter near 11. So right now, QBTS, we'll wait to see what winds up happening. Intel, sorry, not Intel, just quickly, because Tesla just bounced off the 50 period. So I was getting a little distracted looking at that. So that's another key level. We'd like to see this break. Part of me is thinking instead of just getting stopped out up there at 226, maybe we put another piece here at 224, save that $2. But hey, man, maybe we continue lower. We'll see. Right there, there's QBTS loaded up. Mara's still back here at 1040. Let's take advantage of that one as well and go back over to Adara.
Keep an eye here on Worksport, WKSP. This is the 3-minute chart here, trading around $3.50. Basically, this morning here we have this article coming out. The company saying that they do not believe the market valuation fully reflects their business fundamentals. They point to their stock valuation compared to their more than 170 registered pending patents and trademarks. They also have $6 million cash on hand as of March 3rd, and they actually have minimal debt as well. They also pointed to their accelerating revenue rising from $1.5 million in 2023 to $8.5 million in 2024, and their margin improvements and investor visibility. So keep an eye here on WKSP today, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Shout out to you for that one. Again, there's a lot moving in here in the market. QBTS, like I said, it's trending upside. I think it can make a nice little curl in here, but as long as it holds a trend line. When I draw a trend line, it doesn't really matter, but I'm using a 3-minute. And sometimes I'll go from get rid of the opening range and then give it from VWAP in here because that's where the distinct trend starts. Sometimes you get a little bit of mess at that opening range. You connect those dots a little bit later in the day. But for now, just watching that trend line continue to go higher and higher. Apple's getting a little choppy up top. See what's happened at that 215 level? Like if Apple doesn't hold this high, it's an overstatement. But I feel like we're going down. If Apple starts heading to the downside, I think you're in trouble. And Intel's trying to put in a lower high. Like it showed a level the first time. Let's let it show a level again because it's at that 26 top. This is a level on the daily where it's run into some trouble before. And to me, you haven't really cleared that out yet. So until that happens, I still want to look for a reversion on Intel. It's just about being a little bit more patient, not trying to grab it on the way up. When it puts in a distinct lower high, then you can give it to that top and work from there. The other name that I think has got to be in play that I haven't touched, and this was yesterday's trade load, is a firm. And so a bit of a fail not to look for the continuation on a firm because they had the Klarna news, then Klarna's doing the IPO, and Klarna getting the Walmart exclusivity. But looked it up and was scanning names. It is just holding VWAP on trend to the downside. So as far as a continuation after a dump on news, if it's respecting the trend and it's respecting VWAP at this time of day, I like it. So I want to look shorts on a firm at VWAP. Once it breaks it, it was a reversal in the middle of the day yesterday. But I'll look at that name as well because QBTS is requiring a ridiculous amount of patience. And same thing with Intel, still trending to the upside and wanting to be short them.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I bid 67s here, see if we can make, we took a little bit out on QBTS at 71s because we just got that 79 and in the same minute, it just tanked there. So now I'm bidding 67s, see if I can get it. It looks like it's trying to hold 70s though. So definitely aware of that one. I don't want to just take 7 cents, but again, we're just kind of topping up our day, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not playing this one with big shares. just even though it's only $11, hoping that we do get that move back in, and then we can try to hold for 10.20, 10.40. Our stop is 11.15, so I want to get shares a little closer to 10 to 11 before it actually means something. But Mara, still good. Like if it goes down, good. I mean, we'll make some money on that. But Mara, man, we just got some more out at 44s, I think it was. So that was a nice move. And again, you know, with crypto still at 81.5, yeah, 44s. So now that crypto's at 81.5, we still are going lower here. So that is something to watch out for. Okay, are we going to break 70 or what? Yeah, see, another hold down there at 70 for Quantum. So let's wait to see what happens with D-Wave. Looks like they want to buy it up, but if it breaks it, we're already, there it goes. There it is. We're bidding 67s. Yes, sir, Neil. There it is, man. It's another face slapper. We're going to go 3 for 3 hopefully here. Nice downside push now for QBTS. So let's go, man. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're here another day for you. It's been big, man. The last couple weeks have been huge. You know, get comfortable making money in up markets and in down markets. And I mean, and that's just something that, you know, we both have the experience of trading through many different markets. And this is a good one. So make sure you stay there, have your sort of, your knives sharpened a little bit on both sides of the trade. Here we go. We're actually now bidding 62s to the downside. A nice little 12-cent move here for QBTS. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening. And as we go, man, Mara going to be another big stock there, which is perfect timing. Here we go, Mara. We'll get some out at 46. Why not? If we're able to do that. So it's there. All right, there it is, man. Crypto with Adara, Mara working.
Maybe talking here about Mara, but in terms of crypto catalyst, MicroStrategy is actually an interesting one here. So today they did announce via an SEC that they're planning on issuing 5 million shares of its Series A perpetual Strife preferred stock to raise $500 million. Of course, as you might expect with MicroStrategy, the proceeds are likely to go to Bitcoin. So SEC filing showing another $500 million here trying to be raised by MSTR or Strategy, I guess now as the company itself is known. Bitcoin continuing to look very bearish here on this daily chart. Beyond this double top here, beyond the rounded top, now we're getting our own little rounded top within a pattern here, if you will. So we have this push to the downside from the start of March, now getting a bit of a rounded top over the last few days, just above the 85,000 level being used as resistance. So let's see what we take out here. It looks like the next local level of support resistance is this area just below 80,000. Currently trading, though, just below 82K for BTC. Some of these crypto tickers, though, it's worth noting, including MSTR, making a nice bounce here. And Mara, of course, as Sean is in. Let's take a look here at some of these crypto names. A lot of them pretty weak today. Bitcoin down 1.5%. Ethereum actually relatively flat. XRP down 3%. Solana 3.5%. Doge 3.5%. Cardano about 4%. So a lot of these names that are not Bitcoin and Ethereum actually selling off a bit more aggressively. Back to you.
I mean, that's worth a note. I mean, I guess is that the silver lining? That Bitcoin's holding up relatively strong. Just a quick, I mean, Bitcoin broke that 82,000 level. We just never we never really tested that much further down to get to 80. Like that's where ideally the reversion would happen and would look for the long at that 80,000 level. But it's early. It's only 10:30. There's always a chance that you can get back to it, and then we'd work off of that. But at the end of the day, like you are seeing a lot of there's relative strength, and it was a good comment. I didn't catch who it was saying, Neil, you usually pick this. At this time of day, what's the strongest stock holding VWAP? And it's like, yeah, Intel it's not the strongest stock, because I can show you stocks that are probably up more than 2%, but it is trending higher. It did put in a lower high, and I do have a stop at the high, so we do risk about 10 cents in there, and we'll give back on Intel. But you're right, usually if something is trending up and relatively strong, I like a VWAP dip buy. Since I got out of the short, it hasn't come back into VWAP. So there hasn't been an opportunity to look for that in the other direction yet. But it is a relatively strong stock. The other name that is and holding is sort of the same range as Apple, but it's not as strong as Intel. So you're 100% right. That is normally something I would do. But since the reversion short, when it didn't break the high, I had to have it immediately to reverse into a long because it hasn't gotten back to VWAP to retest it. If it does, then I can look at Intel in that range. And then the other trade that we're looking for is still, like it still hasn't broken for me, is QBTS. It's still riding the same trend since VWAP as well. And this is one that's underneath. It's still down, still underneath the prior close. it just has to break trend. And the further it gets from VWAP, it just increases the potential winner for the trade. So already had one short on it, but as you can tell, still making higher highs, higher lows, all that good stuff. It's got to be really patient with QBTS. I think it'll move 4 or 5% eventually when it reverts, if it does revert, once that trend breaks.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about eSignal and then we'll talk about Intel. We wanted Intel long at 25.25, but for right now, listen up, guys. First month free with eSignal. Make sure you do sign up immediately for that. Better charting, the best platform available. I've been using it for over 20 years. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, man. This is just minute charts, tick charts. We just talked about the back testing there, the global markets with their entitlement system. You can trade any market right there. It is eSignal. Thank you, eSignal, for all of that. All right, we did short, man. We're back. Like this is, I'm here to trade every day. You guys know that. So let's get some more out here on AMD. There's the short, man. We're now 1-to-1 on this trade. So we waited for it. It comes into 104. We're now short 104 on AMD. And that's another one right there. Hey guys, sorry, I know too much emotion, too many winners, my bad. But here we go, 103.81 coming into play again here. So we'll start to take some more out there as AMD puts another one back on the board for us there at 104. So there it goes, man, another winning trade. I know it's been a little bit of a tough day for some of you out there, but hey man, just keep your head up, keep going. I know it sucks when the market is down, that is for sure. Look, Intel, we could have had another huge banger. The number 2 trade idea on the day was looking long there on Intel, and 25.25. Wow, now we're 40 cents in the money on Intel. We're only on AMD. We're only giving AMD to 104 20s. So 20 cents worth of a risk right now to make 30. This is Intel, man. We wrote down 25.25. It got down to 25.40. Okay, Neil, here we go, man. I know AMD, you'd got out of it, but we'll see if we can hold on to this just a little bit. Up to 104 there on AMD. There it is. So we get that short, and then now it's back to VWAP. So let's just props up for that one. Good trading here today. I hope everyone is doing well. We did get stopped out. Not stopped out, I mean stopped out for $4, but it does break 226. So we hold that one little last piece here to see what winds up happening on Tesla. Tesla today, success. QBTS. I don't know, man, putting me to sleep a little bit here, but it's been a success so far. I might just get out of this one. And then Mara, this is a big trade here. We talked about this earlier on, tweeted this one out and gave this as one of our, I mean, obviously it's one of our top plays as we only have 2 trades on. It was Mara and Tesla. And since then now, I might just get out of this QBTS, man, and preserve some capital. I'm not sure where this name wants to go. And to be honest with you, let's just get out a little bit more here at 77 if we're able to on QBTS. There it is, okay? And now just take away some risk. We're short here at 79. Look, if it continues to work, great, but it's not moving down the way I thought it would. And in the, best thing for me to do would be to preserve a little bit of capital at this time. It's just been, like, honestly, man, it's just been such a big day so far that we might as well just hold out and see what's going on in some of these names. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 for 4. Pretty good day. AMD, remember, we're now out of half of this trade because it does come into VWAP, and now I'm starting to pick out a little bit more even at these levels because we get paid to play. So, like, if I'll just bid 81s there like I'm doing right now, there we go. When it runs into it, I don't pay an execution fee on that. I actually get paid to make that trade right there. So far, so good. How's your day going over there?
Green right now. I'm 1 for 4, but green. And that's the way I like to trade. I don't care. I mean, I don't care about that metric, to be perfectly honest, because there's sometimes that you don't have an A+ setup to come in. If there was never a QBTS, then it wouldn't matter. Like, that was the only one that was near the top of the list, and now okay. I looked away for 2 seconds. Yeah, I looked away for 2 seconds when QBTS just broke the trend. I had my fingers on the keys for the punch back through 1070 here. The stop was already in if it broke that 1080, but you literally saw me turn my head for 2 seconds and then miss that punch on QBTS. But there is the trend break on QBTS, and it's probably headed in for view. I'm not chasing it because the risk is to 80, and if you shorted at 50 with risk to 80, that's 30 cents, and then VWAP's at 25. That doesn't make any sense. But there you go. Like, that's the setup you wait for. Yeah, you do. Allow it to show up. I'll leave the order in case it comes back to pick me up. What am I doing? And we can get something a little tighter to that.
I meant to hit the
break.
green, the market green, and then now it's not even
The market's not
market red.
green.
I meant on the QBTS.
The market's not green.
No. I meant to hit market red there on QBTS because we just covered it right there again. So it does go down to 50. So, oh boy, this day just, as Neil was mentioning, man, just keeps on getting better. Is Google going back up there to the upside? Let's have a quick look at that one. Okay, now we can break 158. This could be a trend changer there on Google potentially for a nice little upside move right now. I'd still like to see 160 break where VWAP is, but Google, nice look there, whoever that was in the chat. Good look on that one for Google.
Oh, that was my bad. We're supposed to go to a DARA for sector one.
Yeah, no, I hear it in my ear. Yeah, it's okay. There's a DARA.
Even though the market's making a little bit potentially of a bottom here on the SPY and the NASDAQ with some green 15-minute candles, you cannot tell when you look at these tech names. Nvidia, sharply red ahead of Jensen Huang's keynote at GTC 2025. Meta, Netflix, Google, Microsoft, all red here, along with Oracle. Broadcom, another weak name here for the second day in a row in electronic technology. But then we have finance. BRKB, as mentioned earlier, Berkshire is at all-time highs. So not every name is necessarily going to be weak here. Retail trade certainly is, though, along with commercial services, consumer services, producer manufacturing, consumer durables, though mostly that's because of Tesla's performance today, and utilities. Some strength actually in health services. UNH to the upside here, along with some of these other names like Agilent, Cigna. So keep an eye here on health services, one of the few green sectors here that we could see on the board today. Back to you.
I had a dream about Pfizer going up last night. It was kind of weird because Pfizer was up like double digits, and I don't even know why it was Pfizer. Sometimes you're seeing stocks in level twos, and I don't know why it was that stock. A shout out to appreciate the super chats this morning. We had Mohammed, and Chen, and also one from Team Money. MSTR, you like the short there. Well, crypto's down today, so good one. Chen, I don't know if you got this one, but it was a thanks on the Tesla short there from Chen. And then Team Money, only Trump makes market dump like this. I mean, the market's headed to downside. Obviously, we can see it. And the tariffs, whatever the reason might be, we're headed southbound. So, okay, I don't know why I have a... All right, so just a quick recap. We're already pulling into VWAP, like we just went. QBTS just curled. You leave the order in there. It picked me up once. It didn't pick me up again in the mid 60s. I got 64s. I guess I can cancel. I had like 64s and 69s when it broke through 70. I didn't get 69s. I got the 64s though. But at this point, it's already pulled back from that 1070 area to 1030. So if it goes back up there, maybe look for a different price. But there's the trend reversal that we're looking for as that heads down. And even Apple, we're in trouble if Apple loses it today, guys. Because Apple is about to break its trend. It's been making higher lows into a flat top, which is also yesterday's high. Yeah, like if Apple can't hold on to this, I think we're in a little bit of trouble underneath VWAP. So the market heading back down. Apple, I don't want to say leading the charge, but joining the party would be the best way to think about it. I'm just going to double check. I just heard something about Cassava Sciences. It's a huge short float. It's only 5% up. I haven't heard a story, but this is a heavily shorted kind of junk stock that you can see has been destroyed, and it's at a decent breakout level. So if I hear an actual reason why Cassava Sciences is going, maybe throw that one up, and I think that'll be of interest to Sharif in the midday.
Oh, man. The only thing interested to all of us is some banger trades. What's up, Ozan, right there? 103.50 now. Here's 50 cents on AMD. And like Neil said, man, like you can give out 4 trade ideas, 3 of them bunk, but the one that works gets you positive. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, you're the one in control of your P&L. So look down, see what your P&L is. If it's green, congratulations. If it's red, you'll get back to Greensville. So don't worry about it. The more you know is right. We don't share sizes, right? So it is hard to tell, but that's why we're trying to be, and are as honest as we can be about all of these trades. So ask us what you need to, and we'll try to get you the answers that are necessary. All right, well, QBTS, I mean, again, we wrote it down. It's a huge move. It's now down in the money now, 7%. Mara, we started to get out, man. We are now almost out of everything on Mara as it goes up to 1250. Here's the takedown. I might as well just get out. We're bleeding all over the place right now as the Nas, typed in Mata, Mara here as we continue to go lower. I think we'll just get out of Mara here if we can at 31 or 32 here. Get that out, and now just 10 cents on our last piece. Am I not offering 31s? Oh, we got to get Okay, there it is. So we get out there on Mara to end that trade. So that one is a sire name. That's going to be a top name as well for us today. QBTS, oh boy. 40 cents now in the money on this trade. And to think we were nervous and we got stopped out. No worries on that one as we continue to go lower rate now. Joe will be filling in for me for the afternoon. I have an appointment to take, so Joe will be in there doing work again. Was with me all last week. You'll see him with Neil and Sharif. Coming up here on the midday. So that should be a heck of a lot of fun. So there goes AMD, man, still that 50-cent winner as well. So today, let's just review because we're almost done the show here. 50 cents, one trade on AMD, bang. Can we get down lower? I hope so. I'm bidding 103.30s right into here, right into the teeth of this move. So if we can get a little bit more of it play down, that's 50 cents right there. Mara, the name that we talked about all morning, we did it. We put on the bids. We got that long. That's a winning trade as well. QBTS, come on, man. We already talked about that one. That's pretty huge right there. And then Tesla. I mean, this is the one that really set our mood off today in the right spot. And here, now still $6, just a small piece left, of course, into that. I say of course, but you guys know that we were stopping ourselves out all over the place there on Tesla, including a VWAP break. And that's too bad because we got stopped out. We got stopped out of 2/3 of what we have left. We have about that now it looks like I can tell you, about 2.5% left now on that move. It's too bad. We were holding about 5%, and then boom, out right there. So, all right, still going to the downside. Naturally, we'll be at the highest spot we've been at all day right now just because of the way these markets are moving. AMD. Money. I mean, there it is, Neil. Nice play for AMD as that continues to go downside there. So it's a 4-for-4 day, green, and obviously happy with that. We'll wait to see what winds up happening, man. I mean, I got to clear all this out. We'll be back here, though. I don't got to go till about 1 or so. So I'll be posting during the midday show as well.
The gym, though, right?
Probably, yeah. It depends. If trading keeps up like this.
Lifestyles, the thing about what I love about it is the consistency because fitness and, health is a lifestyle thing, man. Like once you make it, once it's a habit, once you build good habits, it's a great thing. And the consistency, I mean, Sean goes every single day.
Close.
Okay.
But
sometimes we get too literal. Sometimes we get too little. But every now and then, like I promise you this, the day Klarna IPOs, you're not going to the gym.
Maybe.
Well,
the thing about it is, remember,
it will not have IPO by the time you want to leave. That's all I'm saying because they never do. One note, QBTS is at VWAP, so it's a trend reverse. I want it to break. We've already scalped out in front of VWAP. I want it to break VWAP and head to the lows and maybe even look for another entry underneath the volume weighted average price if we can get it. So it's just headed to the downside. We'll see what happens with it. There are some small cappers that are running, but let's be real. The market's at lows. ES is over a point to the downside. You are now losing the bid a little bit on Apple. It's still green. Okay, it was green like 2 seconds ago, but you're still losing the bid over there on Apple. Just never really felt like that one was going to be strong enough. I canceled my bid on Mara because as far as I'm concerned, the way I see it, it bounced at 12.15 and went to 12.50. I was sitting at 12.12. That bounce already happened. If we get down there again, it would actually have to be literally $12. I think I would have to be long at 01 or 02. I don't want 12s when 12.50 is low, so I have canceled that bid at this point. Let's go to Money Talks with Adara. 10.50 already.
Already.
This is the US dollar. And again, we talked about this downtrend very much still in effect. Slightly green candle, basically flat. But I think what's interesting is we do get a little bit of a bear flag on the DXY, kind of similar to what we're seeing with Bitcoin. We get into the start of March, get into a sustained downtrend, a little bit of a pop. And right now, near those support lows, let's see how the DXY fares, because tomorrow is going to be a pivotal day for the markets, but also likely for the US dollar. Why? Because Fed Chair Jerome Powell and his FOMC crew are going to let us know if we get a rate cut or not. As of yesterday, 99% of participants expect that the rate will stay exactly the same. But as mentioned yesterday, we actually are now seeing for the May meeting, some participants expecting a 25 basis point cut with even a small sliver, less than 1%, thinking we could get a 50 basis point cut. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. That's, of course, just expectations for the May meeting. But Those will likely change after we find out these results just over 24 hours from now from Fed Chair Jerome Powell and team. We did have some economic numbers this morning, pretty much all of them above expectations, including U.S. housing starts, import prices, export prices, building permits, and the changes month over month for building permits and housing prices. So generally here, higher than expected across the board for these economic data prints. Let's see what tomorrow gives us. Back to the guys.
Yeah, virtually, thanks, Adair. Yeah, virtually 0% there tomorrow for the cut. So
exactly.
We'll be as expected on that one. I don't know if bank stocks are going to be sensitive or not to tomorrow's announcement, since we already know what it's doing. But, you know, like, feeling pretty good. I thought today, I mean, the thing is that we're really looking at the NASDAQ all the time. So I actually got to change this one as well. ESM 25 for the ES as well. It'll be the same kind of a movement today. Down 1%, NASDAQ down 1.8% and near lows, but JP Morgan still up. So we're happy with that one. We did get some good covers down here on AMD. So that's pretty good. And then we can also discuss what's for lunch. All right, today for lunch, not bad. It's 10:53 right now, so it's probably already here. They're here super early all the time. Today it's a homemade bolognese, so that's not too bad, with some penne, roasted Brussels sprouts with Caesar salad. So that's what's for lunch, not bad. Some bolognese coming through there. I think that's okay. Yeah, not burgers today and not chicken, but I don't know what's going to be on our bolognese. Is going to be a beef, I would assume. We will wait to see what's on the salad. Hopefully it's not salmon again, and hopefully it is some kind of, I don't mind chicken. We had a nice chicken
well, I never want this
casserole thing yesterday.
You never want the same
dinner.
thing twice in a row.
No.
Unless it's like a tuna salad or something.
Oh,
If we get the salmon again, that just means we're getting the same salmon, and there's.
Well, we already got the one. So the one from yesterday was already from Thursday or Friday. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't want.
yeah, so hopefully it's not.
I wouldn't mind.
Sharif.
Although I'll tell you this right now, I wouldn't mind if that jerk chicken.
Yeah, man, maybe we get a
If
piece
they
of that.
serve that again, I would put it on the side of my salad. I don't care. Even though it makes 0 sense to have jerk chicken on a salad, I want it anyways, because who cares? All right, so let's just go back over to QBTS for a quick second, because it is bouncing off of VWAP here. So look, it's making higher lows, and we only have 5 minutes to go. Remember, Jensen is talking at 1.
Ooh. 1
p.m. Eastern time is the keynote. We know what happened to these stocks the last time he opened his mouth. I don't know what he's going to say. Maybe you can find people talk about ideas of what he's going to say, but he could really move the quantum stocks. He could move the chip stocks. Just keep that in mind when you're trading these. And it is higher lows. And the shorts have worked, but you've just had to be patient with it and at the right levels. It is trending up. I would not be sitting trying to enter a trade at call like 12.57 or something. 100%, there's no chance I would be doing that on QBTS. After the fact, I think that's more of a story. And just one more note on these, because I know we've only talked about D-Wave. The chart of Rigetti, basically the same thing, but I might weasel in and pay for to steal a term from the guy who's going to be talking in 5 minutes. Because when we bounced off VWAP on QBTS, Rigetti lost VWAP, and it's just a little bit more weak. So this, and the other thing, when you look at this one on the daily chart, like it's rejecting a nice lower high under the 50 period. It might just look a little bit better. So if I see QBTS breaking out and Rigetti still stinks, then I would just flip to looking for the short in this one. And I'll have to pay for locates, but I promise you it'll be really cheap at real trading, because that's how they roll. We've been getting fantastic prices on pretty much every day. Our shorts, even on some of these like smaller cap names. Nvidia is also trying to break upside here at VWAP. If it gets back into these tops, 118 to 119. I thought Nvidia was a short at 120 into 121. Clearly that never happened here today. So if it does make a push into the high teens, that's something I'll be looking for at the lunchtime hour, or at least around there. QBTS short interest, Billy F is asking for, I believe they're all around 18%.
No, it was
21.
It was 34 yesterday. Wasn't it?
D-Wave 21. I thought it was 18%. I see D-Wave as 21% at one source, but they're all estimates, and sometimes they're different, and they're always a little bit old, right? Like they refresh those every month or so. So it might be actually higher than this, but I see 21% as the short float for D-Wave.
Yeah, no, it's wrong. It's only 2%. No, it's only 2%
That can't be right.
Benzinga, yeah, no. So I feel like it's a lot. There was something yesterday that was 34%. Maybe it was Rigetti or something. I don't know, but
Rigetti's a
short float.
Short float.
Yeah, but I thought QBTS was too, so I don't know. But yeah, Rigetti. So, all right, we'll take some more profits here at 50s on AMD. I'm not sure. Neil just mentioned Nvidia starting to go back up to the upside. So we'll just wait to see what happens there on that. We're holding Tesla. Stop on Tesla, I guess the 200 period now 228. So as we were mentioning there, I won't be here, so we'll go 228. Stop 2,000, maybe one day, right there. Okay, we'll do that. Maybe we can get to 2,000, right? 10x, it's done that before. All right, so, and then AMD, just to talk about that stop, I'm probably gonna switch this to 104, maybe give it a little bit more. I mean, we're already, so for AMD, we're already out of 60% of it. So we still have a decent amount, well, a little bit less, but okay, we just got filled. Okay, so right now we have 35% left on AMD as it's coming back in. I don't have any more bids on this name. So our out going to be a break of 104. Now we can change that. It was 104.20. Let's go like 104.06. Just to make sure it breaks out of 100% of that one, but we just got out of some more down there. So we cannot be a losing trade. We love trading with house money. And then same thing with QBTS. It came down to VWAP. We emptied it out, man. I mean, we were waiting for a little bit more, obviously. Our best outs are 32s. It did go to VWAP and touched it down there at 25 or so. So that was a good out for sure if you're able to get it. So we'll wait down there on QBTS again at 10.25. Hopefully we'll get that, but our stop is break even on that, so not gonna give anything back. Tesla, we talked about where our stop is 228. Hopefully that goes down. I'm gonna cancel my 220 bid because I love to come back and see this thing at 218. AMD, and that's about it, man. Nothing else for me. 4 trades today. We got out of Mara, which might be there.
What?
Yeah, so.
Trump,
yeah, whatever. I mean, we had saw that last week there as they had talked about potentially there being that ceasefire and whatnot, I guess.
I think Europe announced more defense, I think another bump in defense spending in Europe
so
again.
I guess that's just not working out over there. Donald said that he would get this sorted out, so let's see if he does. I like some of the deals that he's doing, like getting that mineral deal going there. I mean, if you want some protection, you got to kind of pay for it. I know that's not like really helping out your friends or anything like that.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine,
right.
And I know we're not supposed to get into politics, but the point I was trying to make to him is there's a certain quid pro quo that happens in the world when if we defend you and a bunch of military spending, it just happens all the time. It's just not all the time that you would actually have a president that would just come out and be as blunt about it as Trump is. But it's not new. It's part of the reason why I don't think defense spending is necessarily going anywhere. Like I was just looking up Lockheed, which did bounce off 420 back to the 50-period moving average. So Lockheed's starting to catch a bid, and I think this is a name that. And just a segue, I don't.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like I'm not saying that there's no chance they would cut defense spending. I've just been skeptical of the long-term prospects of world defense spending going down, just because they say they want to. Because U.S. cuts and Europe spends more. So that ends up being flat, and you've bled Lockheed Martin down 30% from the highs, when really, I know it's not great to cheer for those stocks to go higher. I don't want weapons to get made or anything like that.
Wow, Neil, you warlord, you.
No, I'm just skeptical of it, and I have been. I think Lockheed's starting to look a little bit attractive. It is 11 o'clock, not meant to rant. It's just that every time I hear those stories, it's like, just look at where annual defense spending goes across the world, and you show me where the decline is. But let's go over to the midday. I know you're going to have fun.
Yeah, good day.
No, wait a minute. Sorry, you're going to an appointment. I thought maybe you're going to like the rink or something. No.
No.
Appointments aren't always fun.
No, this one's fun. I was going because I got laser eye surgery about 14 or 15 years ago.
I remember that.
I think they're still fine. Yeah, for distance.
I remember.
But it's not. So I was just like, I went and got them. I'm just going to get them checked out again.
Yeah, you check back.
I can see perfectly. The thing is, like, night driving is when I want to wear. When I have to wear the glasses. So I was just going to ask the guy, like, can something be done where maybe I'm not wearing those all the time?
Not to ramble. Can you do it Can you do it again? Can you do a second time? Really do that?
This is what we're going to find out. Who did?
You do it twice? Andre did it twice? Yeah, because I'd always thought, like, at the beginning of laser eye, it's like, oh, you'd get it once, but they wouldn't go in and dabble necessarily again. But that's cool that the technology's come that far. Yeah. The world's an amazing place, and life is always getting better in a general sense, no matter what anybody tells you.
I think that's true.
And trading's going to get better as we go over to the tiger himself, He's trading TIGR, which I'm going to assume is a company called Tiger.
Here's a
Joseph,
tiger right here. Here's a lion coming through. The king of the jungle.
That's not much of a
Hear me roar. Hey, did you lose on your Tim Hortons cup yesterday? Yeah, okay.
Sean won.
No, I lost. Remember, you rolled it up.
Oh, no. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, this is yours. This is here. You want it right now, or we're going to get it this afternoon? All right, here. Well, I'm actually here this afternoon. But there we go. So,
You can still
winner,
do
winner,
it.
chicken dinner.
Still do it.
Well, no, I'm just going right up the street. I'm going to get my eyes checked. I see these charts a little bit better. You know, although maybe I shouldn't be going anywhere. But all right, it's midday madness. Let's throw it over to the guys. See you soon.
Yeah, it was 2 minutes.
Where's the audio?